have motion except for me. There has to be one real nigga left in America, in this damn country.
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, goddamn I'm not.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Fuck you. You're all pricks.
Yeah, Tony.
Want to be masculine showing, but bend over bandits.
Give me the money. Give me the money, but oh well, I was you. Give me the money.
I'm done. I'm done with life. And it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault.
I need that money.
We are absolutely winning right now. Absolutely. We have done more than change the conversation. We changed the balance of power in the federal government.
Time spinning in your cycles, going round for miles and miles.
So be.
Hey, Rick at that.
Yeah. Mic check. Hit that like button for me, y'all. Women are amazing and they ruin everything. Jumping right out the gate. I love y'all, but we got to talk. We got to talk. I would take either version of Margot Robbie because they're the same goddamn woman. Either version of Margot Robbie is the same woman. Just depends on what day of the week you catch her on, what part of the cycle she happens to be on. Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, same goddamn woman. When you accept this, you will be free. We're about to get into it. As you can tell, I'm feeling a bit misogynistic today. It's been building up. It's been building, no lie. No lie, the misogyny has been growing. I feel as though I need to properly justify my misogyny. You know, it's better than having some type of internet crash out. We're going to do this methodically. We're going to do this slowly, with depth, with precision. Going to use a lot of smart, unattractive white women, because those are the bitches that go to school and they write shit down and they do the studying. We're going to use these women. Black women, you're going to be off the hook for the most part. I said yesterday that I'm going to do a show, and it's going to mostly be about white women. Because white women are kind of ruining Western civilization. Like black women, y'all, honorable mentions for sure. Black women get an honorable mention for ruining Western civilization. But it is, if we're going to blame women at all, it's the white women. It really is white women that are at the forefront of all of the wokeness, at the forefront of all of the liberalness. Hell, the black woman herself is mostly empowered by the white woman, which is why when everybody tries to make me play the black game and be all mad at Lily Gaddis for wearing blackface, I'm like, nah, that's a girl problem. You bitches need to clap back. You better do something. Lily out here got you looking crazy and you ain't do nothing? That's wild. I'm not getting into it. It's a girl problem. It's a girl problem. Wokeness is mostly a girl problem, and we have to talk about it. Like I said, we're going to use mostly white women, but before we even do that, you bitches ain't off the hook that easy. Why do we need this? I gotta mute this now. There's too much music. But why do we need this as police? Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Who y'all arresting? Who she arrested? Look at this one right here doing a Running Man with her pink uniform. Who are you arresting? I bet you this is Atlanta. This look like somewhere in it's got to be in the South somewhere. It look like Atlanta. This type of shit they do in Atlanta. Strong and independent. They got badges and guns and everything. Everything. Ain't nobody going to jail this weekend. Hell, some of their boyfriends is probably the niggas that need to go to jail. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. They wonder what's going on with the community. Remember what I tell y'all. When black women try to gas black men up about fighting the system, just remember, black women are the system. They really are. They don't run shit, but they got a nice corner office and a cushy job. And you don't let yourself get gassed up by that. Don't let yourself get gassed up at all by that. When black women gas up black men in order to fight the system, you have to understand it's mostly black women who are the system. And so on the one hand, they want to gas you up to be like, oh, go against the government. You got to fight the white man. On the other hand, they get their check every month from the white man. They about to get a pension and all of that. Big old house, the whole thing.
The only group that he's actually after is black people. That's why he's deporting Latinos, because who's going to work in the fields now? With black female unemployment rate reaching an all-time high. He literally said, he was like, they were on a farm and he was talking about farmer responsibility. As in people could live on these farms with these farmers and they could just build property on the land and people could live here and work on the fields. Does that not sound familiar? Make America Great Again is bringing back slavery.
Trump expected black people to fill in those positions that the illegal immigrants or the immigrants were doing in the fields. I can tell you, Mr. President, that is not fucking happening. We are not going back in the field.
Shut up, foreigner. You need to be in the field. Make your country great again. Now, everybody knows that the women are the biggest part of the liberal left-wing establishment. It is the woman vote that pretty much motivates the left wing, not only in America, but globally, really. Women are the left wing of politics, and it cannot be ignored, really. The overall effects of feminism, broadly speaking, the feminization of Western culture, and the negative deleterious effects of bending every powerful institution to the whims and the wills of the female ecosystem.
Wokeness is feminization. It is feminine patterns of behavior and group dynamics applied to institutions that had previously operated by more masculine rules of group dynamics. Our institutions changed radically in 2020. Wokeness really did mark a significant departure in how our institutions function.
A rolling back or a reversal of the increased presence of women in the judiciary, in politics, in the legal profession, in the scientific community, in the academy even, would basically result in a much diminished voice for women in the institutions that wield the most power. Are you comfortable with that outcome?
In so many ways, I depend on the institutions of society functioning as they are designed to. And if feminization is an obstacle to that, then I think I have an interest in seeing that feminization roll back. We have lost something if history departments become feminized, when parliamentary debate becomes feminized, when all of these things become feminized. The institutions just don't work as well.
Hello and welcome back to Unheard. When a writer or a thinker writes an essay or makes an argument that upsets people, attracts attention, and detonates a bomb under the discourse, we tend to pay attention. Why is it generating so much interest? What about this series of arguments is making it so compelling to people? Well, exactly that just happened in the past week when Helen Andrews, one of the most prominent conservative writers and thinkers, wrote an essay called The Great Feminization, which argued roughly that the woke era, wokeism, is not just an accident of politics and timing, it is all to do with gender and the increasing prevalence of women in the workplace and in influential institutions. Of course, we thought we had to try and get her here on the show to talk it through with us. So Helen, welcome to Unheard.
Thanks for having me, Freddie.
So let's just lay it out for our audience. Wokery is to do with too many women. Is that the argument?
Too many is a strong way of putting it, but if I can phrase it in a less inflammatory way right off the bat, I believe that future historians will be debating for decades, if not centuries, why the summer of woke occurred when it did.
Now, before we even get too deep into this, let me read something to you here on the screen. Oxford scholar J.D. Unwin, who in his 1934 book, Sex and Culture, surveying thousands of years of history and society around the globe, found that women's equal rights and sexual freedom unstoppably destroyed every society where they took hold. Within about 3 generations, only with patriarchal monogamy could civilization itself prosper and survive. The men freed enough from sexual gaming so they had the energy to build a better world. Think about that for a minute. The men freed enough from sexual gaming. Now, if it's the men who have to be free from the sexual gaming, it would only make sense to say that it is the women who are engaging in the majority of the sexual gaming. Which, ironically enough, is why I don't necessarily believe in game all that much. Like, yes, you should be, relatively charismatic to some degree. Like, not even charismatic. That's the wrong word. You should be able to speak to women without pissing your pants. You know what I mean? But beyond that, attraction kind of pulls. Women are visual just like men. And women, on top of being visual, they have other motivations on top of just a raw sexual motivation. And they will use a myriad of snares to entrap men into their sexual gaming, as he's describing it right now. And it is only when women have been kind of oppressed enough that their sexual gaming doesn't damage the very fabric of community is when community can actually thrive. I know I said a lot.
What happened to produce the mass hysteria that was the summer of 2020 and tapering off for a few years after that? In the same way that today we debate what caused the Salem witch trials. Well, I enjoyed floating various theories to explain wokeness in my own mind to make sense of it to myself. But as soon as someone proposed in an essay the following theory, everything clicked into place for me. Wokeness is feminization. It is feminine patterns of behavior and group dynamics applied to institutions that had previously operated by more masculine rules of group dynamics.
Now, I want to point something out here because, we're not really doing race war this weekend. We've done much of that. We're going to move off the race war this week, and we'll come back to that another day or two. Maybe we'll see. The race war is ever present. The race war never leaves us. But today it's about women. And I want to talk about the fact that as intelligent and as, clean cut and well spoken this young lady is. Well, she's not a young lady, she's an adult mom. But as intelligent as this woman is, she is merely regurgitating the work of a man who lived almost 100 years ago. And she's doing it as if she just discovered gravity. Like as if Isaac Newton never had an apple fall upon his head. Here this woman is giving us lectures upon gravity. I have a theory. I discovered something. No, the fuck you didn't. We been knew you fucked everything up. We just forgot because we started listening to y'all all of a sudden. Goddamn sirens and shit. You listen to the sirens and you crash your boat into the rocks, bro. Story old as man.
And to check this hypothesis against the facts, all you have to do is look at the demographics of various professions and institutions. Many of them tipped over from being majority male to majority female in the decade or even the 5 years leading up to wokeness. Law schools, for example, tipped from being majority male to majority female in 2016. The New York Times tipped over to being majority female in its staff in 2018. Medical schools, the white-collar workforce overall, just so many of the basic bedrock institutions of society demographically feminized right around the same time that they developed the, I would say, pathologies of wokeness. And so the fact that what wokeness entails so resembles feminine group dynamics, that can't be a coincidence. So that's my theory, that the one caused the other.
Okay, so let's just try and explain. I mean, I can't count the number of definitions of woke that we've had on this show over the past 5 years, but I guess you're meaning not so much the sort of radical political ideas as the atmosphere of cancel culture, those kind of things, or which parts of woke do you think are particularly feminine?
The one that I encountered first in my own career, because I argue for a living, is the idea that disagreement is a personal affront. That if you disagree with me, I take offense at that.
I encounter that all the time. And not only do I encounter it with women, which isn't really uncommon, and it's not even shocking, but it's shocking and it feels weird when you encounter it from men. When you have disagreements with guys and they react emotionally like women, as if I said something to offend you or intentionally to offend you.
Now, for me, my belief has always been that if I disagree with you, that's a sign of respect. If I'm arguing with you, that's how I show respect. That conflict is not necessarily something that should be minimized. Sometimes conflict is a good thing. Certainly in terms of debate, rational debate, conflict is the essence of that. What we saw during the woke era was this new idea that if you're disagreeing with someone's position, you are questioning their humanity or invalidating their lived experience. Wokeness was a way of shutting down conflict rather than living with conflict. And that's a pattern that psychologists have observed in differences between men and women. And to clarify something that's caused a lot of people a lot of confusion and trouble in evaluating this argument for themselves, it's not so much differences in individual men and women in terms of their tastes, but group dynamics, how male predominant groups behave versus groups that are majority female.
And this is another area of nuance that we stumble into often with these male-female gender war, gender dynamic conversations. You know, not all, but most, right? Not all women are shorter than men, but most are. You know, not all women are functionally able to reproduce and carry a baby, but most are, right? And so when we get into these group disparities and group commonalities, there are things that we can point to in women that make women uncomfortable, such as accountability, right? Not all women run away from accountability automatically, but most do. It's a thing that they do. And then when it really gets into like group gender dynamics and the male female psyche, it starts to go into like really dark places at times. Like everybody understands like the darkness of the male psyche. You know, we get violent, very possessive, territorial, all these things. Women oftentimes, their dark psyche tends to project onto the men around them in ways that are uncomfortable for us as men to acknowledge. Let me point something out to you. I want to jump over to the election for a little bit. Mamdani won the election in New York City, and it was largely due to the female vote. Women, you know, women vote. Women do a lot at the elections. And so one of the things that was talked about recently was the fact that the right wing had gone so like toxic male. You know, the Groyper thing was popping up. You know, the Israel thing pops up a lot. And we don't put that, that's a side issue. But largely speaking, what people are saying is that the right wing is somehow repelling the women, and that's pushing them to the left wing, which one could argue that the women are just naturally repelled by the right wing from an internal perspective, and they are rebelling. They're not repelled by, but they are rebelling from the men of their own group and tribe, which is relatively common for, you know, the female of the species, right? And there's all kinds of weird female psychological profiling that goes into that, but think of it as the rebellious daughter phenomenon, right? Papa don't preach, all of that, right? Let me read this to you. This is a post that went relatively viral recently after Mamdani won the election. One of you guys hit that like button for me. I can't reach it from here. I need you to hit the like button for me. I'm a millennial, emotional woman, and this is my emotional rant of why conservatives are losing young women. I drove home yesterday after spending nearly a month in Phoenix fighting for a hard-fought win in Mesa. So excited for our team, but disheartened by the outcome of other races across the country. As a woman that works in politics, having dreamed of living in NYC as a little girl and still loves the city to this day, I was left alone with my thoughts for 2 hours. How in the world did a socialist just win 84% of the young women vote in NYC? How did 65% of women my age vote for a socialist? What needs to change? 4 things. 1, stop the attacks. Women are emotional by nature. They vote with their emotions and heart more than pure logic as men do. We must recognize this and embrace it instead of saying things online like women are too emotional and shouldn't be allowed to vote, or women are so dumb. I saw this all over X yesterday. Attacking women is not how we will win them over. It's not how we will ever win them over. Now, right away, let's pause at number 1. She's saying stop the attacks. Women are emotional by nature, but also stop saying that women are too emotional and women shouldn't be allowed to vote, right? And therein lies the rub. And this is a sort of existential crisis between men and women. You know, letting women have the vote was truly like the kiss of death, because without the power of legal authority, which is what the vote really does give women, it gives women the power of legal authority. But without the power of legal authority, men would just simply overpower the women in scenarios like this. Where you can understand as a woman, you can acknowledge and verbalize what the problem is and still remain intransigent and refuse to budge because I'm just a woman. And now because they have the power of the vote, men are sort of held hostage by that. And she is right. Attacking women is not how we will ever win them over. Number 2, stop the infighting. Women are sick of it. I cannot tell you how many girlfriends that voted for Trump in 2024 have told me they are just so tired of the divisiveness and no longer even want to be involved. It's exhausting. Millennial women are trying to raise babies, hold down a job, run a household, be a wife. The last thing we have energy for is the battle of egos and male-dominated politics. We will continue to lose the suburban woman vote the longer we keep destroying each other. Women are checked out, and it's a turn off. Now, it's a weird thing for women to want to insert themselves into politics and then be upset at the men for engaging in fierce political battles. Do you understand that's an intransigent problem again? Your entire position in politics is to stop the men from fighting out the problems. Free Zone, you're not totally wrong. I would argue that the woman's vote was a little bit foisted upon the majority of men, but it was done through legal voting procedure, which means that the men of the day did allow it. So, there is that. But it's kind of like the civilizational struggle that we kind of keep forgetting about. Intransigent means she just won't budge. Just a problem that won't move. When an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Strong men matter. Number 3, strong men matter, and we are lacking them. Mamdani was seen as the father and husband that many of these women likely did not have in their lives. Women want to be taken care of, and Mamdani has promised to do that. He is full of charisma and preyed on the emotions of young women and the void they are feeling. Strong men respect women, protect women, that value their opinions instead of feeling threatened by them, that see women's unique strengths as the perfect partnership from God to their masculine dominant traits. We need more of these men. Again, a woman defining masculinity for her own self-interested purpose, right? And this is kind of why men are just automatically opposed to, well, not men, but men like myself are automatically opposed to the concept of like female leadership and whatnot, women voting and all that. And not that I was always like this, but as I thought more about the concept and looked more at the reality of it all, it just seemed like an obvious problem. The reality of women voting is that over time, women will effectively vote to disempower their own men for the advantage, for the women's own advantage, for social, for economic, for legal advantage. Women will eventually collectively vote to disempower their own men. And this is where it becomes dark and weird. And this is where, the shit test part of women really starts to present itself. Women have voted to disempower their own men economically, socially, and politically. Let's talk about this from a racial dynamic, because it really is racial without really hiding it. There's no way around the racial element of it, right? Race is a group, and so the men of your group are also the men of your race, right? I make this point all the time, how only black men ever get accused of being race traitors. There's nothing black women have ever done that would ever get them accused of being race traitors, even though the very first, the Supreme Court case that made interracial marriage legal was about a woman and a man, a black woman and a white man. white women, if black men can be considered race traitors for being conservative, then by that same logic and that same measure, white women would also be considered race traitors for being liberal, because it is their liberalism that is now flooding the country with non-white competitors, non-white love interests, non-white economic competitors, non-white physical violent threats. They are now importing hostile men to compete directly with the men of their own group, which is one of the reasons why the Mamdani thing is such a weird trend. Well, it's not even a weird trend. The trend itself has been holding for a long time, and it's now coming to this odd fruition of white women voting for the pro-Islam guy. And if you really want to see the fruition of it all, you would have to actually look to Europe more than America, because Europe is on a fast track. They're the decades ahead of America on the woke death spiral. But white women are completely welcoming of the brown, mostly male immigrant population that comes in by the boatload every day. And then it was actually a white woman in the UK government that was responsible for covering up one of the notorious grooming scandals that was going on. This is why Tommy Robinson is a big name, because he was on top of that case. And as it turns out, it was a white woman. I think it was maybe Jess Phillips was her name. It was some lady in the British government that actually kind of like quieted the whole thing up so nobody could go to jail. But what effectively is happening there is you have a foreign population of men preying on the women and girls of the host population, yet the women and girls of that host population, out of sheer spite toward their own men, will continue to vote for that host population. And I know we're kind of focusing on white women at the same time, but black women are just as woke. Black women are just as hostile and spiteful and resentful of their own men. They use white men as a proxy to hide their direct animus toward black men, but they are just as deceitful and just as traitorous. Number 4, economics and the family unit. This goes along with number 3. We have to figure this out. If women are struggling to survive financially, cannot buy a house, struggle to make ends meet each month, work a job that pays barely enough to cover the cost of childcare, and have been promised an American dream that they feel is duped, they are naturally going to run to the man who offers a false sense of safety and security. And yes, I realize all 4 of these points have feelings or emotional component, but that's exactly the point. Now, you know, like I said, white women out here ruining the world. Black women, you can step to the side. Don't catch this bullet. Accept your honorable mention. You know, we're number 2. But black women, white women, woke white women are kind of ushering in the socialist death spiral of Western culture. And they do it with such pride and spite and vigor. And then they make allies with all of the other non-Westerners so they can further justify the death spiral.
Hey guys, so since Mamdani just won the New York City mayoral election, let's talk facts about some of his policies. I also want to preface this by saying that my father, who actually lives in New York and voted in this election, confirmed with me that voter ID is not required. All you need is to tell them your name and your address. He also confirmed with me that in theory, it would be possible for people to vote more than once. Just gonna leave it at that. So one of Mamdani's more popular policies is to tax richer and whiter neighborhoods. Mamdani also wants to decriminalize prostitution, and he said that one of his values is believing that sex work is work.
You support decriminalizing prostitution?
Yes, my fundamental belief that sex work is work.
Mamdani will not openly condemn Sharia law.
I'm asking you. I'm running.
And by the way, Sharia law includes forcing women into this. Mamdani also wants to introduce free healthcare, free childcare, and government-run grocery stores, all funded by the taxpayer. Keep in mind that before the election, over 1 million New Yorkers said that they would leave the city if Mamdani were to win. So once all of the rich people leave the city, those taxes are going to fall onto the middle working class. Now, this isn't one of his policies, but it does reflect his personal values. Do you guys remember his little rap career that he had? Yeah, so one of his lyrics said, "Shout out to the Holy Land Five, a terrorist organization." Not to mention that a lot of his top donors and supporters are closely associated with terrorist organizations. So essentially, Mamdani wants to introduce socialism into the city of New York, which we all know worked so well with Cuba, Venezuela, the Soviet Union. For those of you who voted for Mamdani, I really, really hope you know and you get what you voted for.
Of us have, at least many in this kind of intellectual landscape, but it's kind of hard to narrow it down to a sort of legible phenomenon. I mean, it always feels like a vibe thing, but you've really thought it through and you've laid out a lot of details. So why don't we just start by give us the broad strokes. What is the great feminization?
Well, it started with the puzzle that faced a lot of us in the summer of 2020 of what is going on. Where did the Great Awakening come from? And I think that's a question that's going to be studied by historians centuries hence. You know, the same way that we look back at the Salem witch trials and try and figure out what caused that eruption of mass insanity, people are going to be looking at the summer of Floyd and trying to figure out why did everybody go so crazy all at one time? And there are a lot of different theories that people have put out there for why wokeness arose when it did. Some people said it was a post-Obama hangover, that we thought we were going to sort of solve identity politics and then we didn't. And so frustration with that caused everybody to go crazy. And other people posited different theories, social media, whatever. And then in 2019, I read an article that posited a much simpler theory, which is that wokeness equals feminization. That is the reason why institutions go woke. It's simply wokeness reflects feminine patterns of group behavior, the way women tend to interact with each other, using exclusion and ostracism as a tool of social control. So basically, any aspect of wokeness you can identify or pick out, you can find reflected in differences between men and women. So don't.
Carmen, that is absolutely an insane forehead. It really is. I don't want to use insane though. Insane is too it's what's the word? Pejorative. Insane is too pejorative. It's a negative word. That is a genius forehead. Okay. That's a high IQ. That's a megamind forehead, right? She is thinking upon things that haven't even happened yet. She is imagining worlds that haven't even come into existence yet. You don't even understand what's going on inside that forehead. There's an entire universe that is housing another pocket universe in that forehead. You don't even want to know what's going on. Now, the other girl, to be fair, the other girl is just hit. She doesn't even have a spectacular universal forehead. She just hit. And so we got like a really smart chick and a really hit chick. And so the hit chick is going to ask questions and the smart chick is just going to talk from the forehead.
Break your brain trying to figure out why did wokeness occur when it's really very simple. It's just wherever there are enough women or a high enough share of women within an institution, you will get wokeness. It is as simple as that. And that seemed really elegant to me and seemed to reflect the facts as far as I could see them.
Tellingly, this piece was published by an anonymous writer, or at least some
Now I gotta ask the chat. This is total non sequitur. Don't hate me for being weird, but when they come to you for a threesome, do you take down the one on the left with the striped shirt or the one on the right with the black shirt first? All right, it's a threesome. They got a gun to your head. You have to do it. The one in the black, or the one in the stripes. I'm just saying, you're probably gonna die either way. But which one? Because oh my god, oh, he said the hamburger. Most uncomfortable threesome ever. Everybody's gonna be apologizing to each other the whole night. I'm really sorry.
Who only calls her, or I suppose himself, Jay Stone. What do you know about this piece and this author?
Absolutely nothing. I don't know. I think it's a man. He presents himself as a man on the internet, but you know, it's the internet. He could be a golden retriever for all I know.
I've been talking about this for a long time. I did a podcast for a couple of years with Sarah Hayter, and the premise of the podcast in a lot of ways was this question of, you know, all these platitudes. The future's female. The world would be better if it was run by women. And then, you know, the signature of our show, the name of our show was A Special Place in Hell, which came from the Madeleine Albright quote. There's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women. And so there's this kind of moral high ground that women as a sort of collective body have been presented with. And frankly, I always found it quite infantilizing. On the other hand, I think that
it's crazy how most of y'all went for the one in the black shirt. Because I ain't gonna front, this one, the hamburger looks scary to me. She do look a little bit scary. Like dark cloud, like lightning would start to strike if you hit that. Like ominous things would happen. Furniture would start to levitate if you started hitting that, bro. She looked way too scary. I could not. As soon as you stick your dick in there, the TV gonna start floating and shit. No, I'm not. No, that shit looks spooky as fuck.
I posit a lot of these ideas, and people will say, "Well, that's not true. You just feel this way because you have been surrounded by women. You have been in workplaces with a lot of women. You went to particular kinds of educational institutions that had a lot of women, and so you don't really know what goes on." So before we kind of jump into this further, can you, Helen, talk about your background in terms of education and the workplace?
Sure. As someone who's worked in journalism and think tanks, those tend to be very feminist. So that was his personal experience, but it was surprising to me that it wasn't instantly obvious. That was, it's the funniest thing, Helen. Or conservatism, which tends to be quite male. So I've worked in both. I've been in all female or predominantly female offices and in predominantly male offices. And actually, one of the incidents, sort of personal anecdotes that set me off on this line of inquiry was not from me, but it was from my late father. My father was a lawyer in private practice for a very long time, but towards the end of his career, he decided to take a break from private practice and join an NGO for disability rights because
You know the funny thing about her talking about her late father, it just reminded me. And Art, that's the link in the chat if you want to know what the name of this video is. The era of the big, strong, patriarchal father is long over. And it's almost to the point where just the era of fathers almost, it feels like over. Like, you know, kids have fathers, you know what I mean? But like the era of like, you know, your father was just the man of the whole family. Like, especially in Black America, that shit's long gone. White America still kind of has some of that holding on. But this era where, like, you know, the father was just the anchor of the family. We remember the family around the men and all that. Doesn't really live anymore. And so it's kind of poignant. She's kind of telling a story right here through her father's eyes.
Younger sister had disabilities, and he felt passionate about that issue. So that's what he did. He left private practice behind and joined this disability rights NGO as their legal director. And he loved that work. It was so beautiful seeing him find purpose at the end of his career towards what ended up being the end of his life. But once when I asked him, how's work going? How's the new job? He said, it's the funniest thing, Helen. At my old job, everybody just did their work and they left you alone and there wasn't a lot of management. And, I love all my new coworkers. They're wonderful and the work is so full of meaning, but I do spend an awful lot of my time managing everybody's feelings now. Like whenever we make a decision at work, I need to make sure that everybody feels like they participated in the decision making. And that never used to come up at my old office. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's nonprofit work is like that. And I said, hang on a second, Dad. I got one question for you. What was the gender balance at your old office and what's the gender balance at the new one? And it really was, all male at the old place and predominantly female at the new place.
Her father was a part of the old guard. And this is a woman mid-40s. So her father is, 60s, 70s, something like that. And he really isn't built for the new workplace, right? And here's the kicker, though. Technically, no man is really built for this new workplace where your looks and your casual comments get held against you and put on your quote permanent record like they used to talk about when we were children. Now your HR meetings follow you around and all that. And it could be from the slightest thing.
So that was his personal experience, but it was surprising to me that it wasn't instantly obvious to him why he had to spend so much time managing people's feelings at the new job, that it was obviously because they were ladies. So I think for a lot of us, we kind of tend to have blinders on and not see that gender dynamics are at the bottom of a lot of these differences between workplaces.
So you write that once women become a majority or even more so a significant majority in institutions, those institutions begin to function according to feminine rather than masculine modes of behavior. And so you talk about, women, I don't know if they are the majority in medical school and law school now, but certainly, 50%, if not more. We have academia, certainly humanities departments are overwhelmingly female. Can you kind of break down what are the types of workplaces that have gone full female or at least, significantly female over the last 50 years or so?
A lot of different professions are at different stages of feminization. So in something like the law, we are at a stage now where law schools are notably majority female. I think the last cohort of law school students was 56% female. So that's not like 50-50. That's well on the way to being predominantly female. But the lagging indicators, things like judges on the federal bench right now, still predominantly male, because those are people who were appointed 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So it takes a long time to catch up. Medicine, I believe, is still at the lagging indicator stage. So medical schools are majority female, but doctors in America right now still majority male. So each different profession is at a different stage. Academia is more advanced along the road to feminization, which is maybe one reason why it's more advanced in the road to wokeness. Journalism is another one, because journalism is an industry where women have always flourished. Even in the bad old days of patriarchy, there were female journalists. It was always an industry.
Academia and journalism have one thing in common, really, which is just, talking and communication in general. And so these areas where you spend a lot of time talking and just communicating for a living, women obviously dominate that sort of thing, because women like words. I talk for a living, technically. Speaking of that, it'd be nice if somebody threw $1 in the hat, because I do technically talk for a living. But women like words a lot more than men do.
I need that money.
And so in these areas where, you know, you spend a lot of time just using your words to paint a reality for the world, women will dominate in that. But it is also in that world where they just use words to paint reality that they actually begin to falsify reality.
Where some women were welcome in certain roles. So
Okay, so one of the things that I've often pointed out is that a lot of these types of fields where you have a lot of women, they also tend to be the sort of glamour professions. They are the jobs that are prestigious but don't necessarily pay the most money. That's certainly true in journalism, book publishing, the arts, some types of law. I would think, unfortunately, increasingly in medicine, you have a lot of, certainly family, general medicine, family practices. Those are not jobs that make a lot of money, as opposed to something like surgery, which has, you have less control of your hours. And so more men are going to go into that because they're not trying to necessarily balance, child care with their jobs. So
I think it's really obvious and easy to dissect here. Any of the fields that are a little bit more technical, any of the fields that are more labor intensive, you got to spend 8 hours a day doing just a particular thing physically over and over again. Those are going to be the fields that are just more heavily male dominated for obvious reasons. Men are just wired better for that kind of labor.
So, I mean, what can you say about that?
the best example of that phenomenon, which is 100% true, is the nonprofit world. Nonprofits in general, I believe the nonprofit workforce is 3/4 female. So overwhelmingly female, because nonprofits is those are places you go to work if you're more interested in mission than money, if you're maybe not the breadwinner in your house. So that does tend to attract women.
Okay, so what is wrong with this? What's the problem with the whole bunch of women at work or anywhere, really?
Yeah, and to be clear, I like women, and that Madeleine Albright quote is annoying and feminist, but I do try and live it in my own life.
To be clear, I too also like women. I just want to, in case anybody had any doubts about that, in case this show might have left you confused about that, I'd like women. All right, I think women are beautiful. They mostly smell good. I mean, hell, even the ones that aren't the prettiest are still attractive in some kind of way, Women are amazing, and they ruin everything, though. It's true. It's true. Angry Snowman, I like parts of women.
I'm a journalist in conservatism, and there aren't a lot of women are in that field. So anytime I find them, I try and lift them up and help them proceed. But for me, the number one or the most relevant difference in group dynamics between men and women is how they deal with conflict. I'm a journalist, an opinion journalist. That means I argue for a living. So if I'm arguing with you, trust me, it is a sign of respect. Mm-hmm. If I'm telling you that you're wrong, I'm trying to engage you in conversation because I think that you're a smart, rational human being capable of answering back and moving the dialogue forward. When I approach discussion in that spirit with women, it is not always taken in the, not always received in the spirit in which it was offered.
Now, this is the part where I really wanted to focus on right here. And first off, shout out to the audience. Thank you guys so much for coming through. My man Tahuti Ra with the 5-ball salute. Salute to you. Thank you right back. Thank you so much for coming through. Do remember to hit that like button, like, share, and subscribe. Join the church. The memberships are always open. We always have a new spot for a welcome member in the church.
Get it again. Okay, I'm going to say it again. I come in the name of Jesus. Repeat it after me, bitch. I come in the name of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit.
And then big, gigantic shout out to the Drip Nation. Shout out to my girl, Shanika. Shanika, I know, I hope you understand what we're doing over here right now, it isn't out of any spite toward women at all. I just want to talk about the reality of the male-female dynamic. You know, I mean no harm when I say the things I say, and I appreciate you showing up and showing love over here. Shout out to Shanika from the Drip Nation. Put some color in the chat and hit the like button. Hashtag Drip Nation. Thank you so much for coming through today, y'all.
Come on, share your dollar. Give me your dollar. Share your dollar with me. Come on.
And then shout out to Shanika for smashing that super chat button. Be like Shanika, y'all.
Hulk! Smash! Smash you! Yeah! You make Hulk angry. You not like Hulk angry. Hulk no like fighting girls.
Now, let's get right back to it. I think what she just said about men engaging women in some type of argument, or really argument, it sounds like a strong word. As you know, we're Black mostly. We hear that with the wrong tonation sometimes. An argument is just, you know, presenting your facts and your side of the debate. Let's not add more emotion to the definition than we need. Now, in that same vein, though, women will take that and turn it into an actual argument, which is what Helen was just describing here, where as men, we will meet whatever situation, whatever, you know, argument, whatever facts that you present, we will meet it honestly and head on and try to deal with it. And then, of course, we disagree with you because you have a vagina and that's where your thoughts come from. And I have a dick, and that's where my thoughts, well, really, I have balls. Not really, it's not the dick so much, it's the balls. That's where most of my thoughts come from. And so because my thoughts come from my balls and your thoughts come from your ovaries or whatever, we clash. We just, because we start from radically different points of view. And so we're just going to clash. And when, as men, I present to you all of the wisdom of my testicular fortitude, you're just like, oh my God, my ovaries can't deal with it. Why do you hate me? And then, you know, now we're having an argument. Now we're having a goddamn fight. And that's not what I wanted to do.
Women tend to interpret direct conflict as an affront, or tend to respond not in a spirit of, I'm gonna, you know, you throw a punch and then I throw one and we'll see where we are at the end of the day. And I recognize that both styles of conflict resolution have merit. There are certainly contexts where I would prefer a more feminine approach to conflict resolution, you know, to keep everybody's feelings in mind.
What would be
Sometimes
an example?
Well, I'm a mom. I have 3 kids, so definitely within our household, if I'm telling the boys to be nice to each other, certainly that I do put on my kindergarten teacher voice when I'm dealing with my own kids. That's for sure. But if you argue for a living, or if you are working in journalism, then I think it is your professional obligation to be willing to engage in debate and conflict. And if someone throws an argument your way, you don't have permission to just stamp your feet and say, how dare you talk back to me?
You know, shout out to Uncut Underground, by the way. He says, you want a robot, not a woman. I got hit with that accusation just early this morning, because I be up all night driving. I be on panels talking shit while I'm driving. But I got hit with that accusation just early this morning, where somebody told me I wanted a Stepford wife. Which, I mean, given the alternatives we have available, a Stepford wife sounds pretty amazing. But obviously, that's a gross exaggeration. That being said, though, my response to somebody telling me that I wanted a Stepford wife, or, you know, as you say, I want a robot, not a woman. My response, my immediate question to that was, Somebody tell me one thing that's wrong with a woman that shuts up. I'm waiting. I would like to hear from the chat. I would like to hear from any ladies in the audience. Sugar Bum, anybody out there? What is wrong with a woman that shuts up? Tell me one bad thing about that. I mean, really, like if you could list all of the qualities of a woman, I got to imagine shutting up here and there would be like top 3, top 5 minimum.
And that's what wokeness was to me more than anything. It was one side trying to have a dialogue, bring facts to the table, and the other side stamping their feet and saying, how dare you? You can't question me because of my lived experience, or I'm not even going to deign to respond to what you're trying to present because of my identity or whatever. So willingness to have an argument. I never, as a kid, I never would have dreamed that that was something masculine. But it seems from my observation of the world that it does tend to flourish only in spaces that operate by masculine rules of engagement.
Do you think that there's an evolutionary component here? Because some might suggest, well, women avoiding conflict, being agreeable, all of these things is a result of, self-preservation. It's not in a woman's interest to get into an argument that might lead to a fist fight.
It's funny. I used to be so impatient with evolutionary biology and its just so explanations for human behavior. But the older I get, the more wisdom I see in them. Another funny personal anecdote. When I got right out of college, I taught preschool for a while just to make ends meet while I was writing at night. And for the first few months that I did that,
I think I'm going to drop the link after this preschools part. Hit that like button. This is a long interview. It's 1 hour and 14 minutes. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you guys, but I think the preschool part is it's interesting. It's enlightening in regards to the male-female dynamic, almost practically right out of the womb. Like we literally are what we are as soon as we can walk and talk.
The class where I was a teacher's assistant happened by the factors of randomness, happened to be all male. So these were all male preschoolers, just a group of boys.
Wow.
And then a few months in, we got one female student who happened to be quite girly. She wore princessy skirts and everything. And I was astonished to observe the differences in behavior in these kids, in these boys, just from the introduction of a female into that social group.
There was a great episode on South Park where like the boys kind of reverted to some type of caveman form because one girl like started to develop boobies. And so because she developed boobies, it sparked some type of weird primal caveman behavior in the boys. And so, that was a South Park episode, right? So anyway, I'm on DJ Witch Doctor's panel like last night, this morning, whatever. And I start calling these niggas out because like y'all be switch hitting, bro. You niggas will agree with me on one point because like I say something that's just like obviously true, and you niggas start telling stories that back up the point I'm making, but then you'll try to side with the women to gain favor with the women. And I started calling that shit out like, bro, you niggas be over here trying to get Scooby snacks and little pats on the head and shit. That shit is cool. That shit ain't cool, bro. Niggas be switch hitting and shit. And at one point, it was, who was it? It was Free the Green. Shout out to Free the Green, by the way. Shout out to Free the Green. Free the Green, bro. I hope you enjoyed all your head pats, bro. Niggas really be going, niggas will stab you in the back to let a bitch pat them on the head. Niggas will push another nigga off the roof so a whole other nigga's woman could pat him on the head. That shit is amazing when you realize it, bro. Niggas do anything for a random bitch's head pat, bro. This is what I realized on panels. That's exactly what happens on panels because you got to understand the panel dynamic. Almost nobody is having sex with anybody on the panel, right? And so I come into the panel with that energy that the sexual dynamic ain't even really in play. Even if I flirt with you, I'm just joking. You feel me? Because like I'm not even trying to hit. Like this is digital pussy. I'm not even trying to hit. I take my shots in the real game. Now these niggas act like it's really for real every single time, all the time. And so we get on the panel, and the next thing you know, niggas don't want to offend the women, even though they know they wrong, even though they know I'm right, even when they wind up agreeing with me on accident. And I realized all it is niggas like getting a pat on the head, bro. That there is something so tender and delicate. It reminds them of like mama's warm embrace. It smells like baked cookies on a Sunday morning. There's something about that pat on the head that niggas just can't live without, bro. Listen, I'm telling you, now that I told you that shit, bro, think about it when you hear it on the panel, bro. The virtual head pat is real. Because ain't none of these niggas getting pussy for real. Like 99.9999999% of these niggas ain't getting pussy. Jay Prince for president, he's doing it. And I think I know of one or two YouTube couples that quietly went offline. They just said, I don't trust you niggas with my love life. We out of here. But for the most part, ain't none of you niggas really getting no box off this game. And so I'm cool with that shit. I accept it on those terms, but you niggas be acting like the box is at the end of the road. Niggas be acting like there's something to win. Ain't no prize on the panel, my nigga. All you get is a head pat. That's all you get is a fucking head pat, bro. And that shit is amazing. Niggas will do the most for a fucking pat on the head, bro. It's crazy. But once I really called it out, the nigga owned it. And then later on in the panel, I'm talking to fucking Chanel. I'm asking her a serious question. We having a regular exchange like an adult man and adult woman who don't want anything from anybody. We're just talking like two people who are over 18. And this nigga Frida Green start getting in the middle of it. And I'm like, see, yo, this nigga still want a head pat. And then he fucking said it. He was like, you're right, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. You stealing my head pats. I'm like, this fucking nigga. This fucking nigga. I swear to God, you had to be there.
Now, these are 4-year-olds. They're not trying to hook up with anybody. But there is just something about the introduction of a female that makes the men stupider. The boys had previously been quite cohesive, good behavior, got along well with each other. They were brothers. And then as soon as a woman was introduced into the picture, they started becoming competitive. They started fighting with each other more, showing off for the girl to try and present themselves as the king of the mountain.
Now, let me read again to you from Oxford scholar J.D. Unwin, who in his 1934 book, Sex and Culture, surveying the bounds of history and society around the globe, found that women's equal rights and sexual freedom unstoppably destroyed every society where they took hold within about 3 generations. And reading further down, only with patriarchal monogamy could civilization itself prosper and survive. The men freed enough from sexual gaming. And when you hear that, right, the men freed enough from sexual gaming, so they had the energy to build a better world. And she's talking about little boys who are 4 and 5-year-old, and the introduction of just a girl in their environment at 4 and 5-year-old. Men are almost weak. We are inherently weak to the sexual gaming of adding a woman to our social dynamic. As men, we can take down a buffalo. We can fight wars together. We can steal gold from a fucking dragon together. But you add one woman into the mix, and 2 of these niggas is going to fight, and the 3rd nigga is going to run off with the woman, bro.
To be the top dog in the eyes of this girl. And I thought I could understand those dynamics if I was dealing with teenagers, but these are 4-year-olds. Where is this coming from?
Hit that like button. We're going to drop that link, y'all.
I really did learn, wow, this must be quite deep-seated human behavior, because I don't think they've been socialized into wanting to show off for girls yet.
No,
this
they're
must
not
be
listening
coming from
to
someplace really deep.
Bro podcasts yet at age
They
4.
were
but
not listening to Andrew Tate.
What a strange experience for that little girl to be the only girl in an all-boys preschool. That would give her something to write her college essay about someday. I mean,
and this is something I spoke to the other day, almost in defense of women, because the more I realize, like, and I acknowledge I am becoming more and more strident this is mostly online because, real world interactions, you're going to kind of take people as they come. But I'm becoming more and more strident when we have these online conversations. And I realize that you can't really hold the women too accountable for all the allowances that men grant them. And so I get on these panels and I find myself in these conversations on the Chitlin circuit, and the women are clearly just, they're using all manner of feminist or female tactics, They change the subject. They immediately go on the attack. They try to pull you down into some type of emotional victimhood pit. All of a sudden, you guys are so evil, mean to me, Why are you doing this to me? Or they bombard you with 1,000 different things and you can't really respond to anyone at a time. Like, there's several manner of female tactic they use to knock you off your game. And I watch dudes just give into it over and over and over and over and over again. And I really hate you niggas for that. I swear, I do. I'm not even mad at the women anymore. Maybe once upon a time, I used to be more upset with women than maybe I should be or should have been, But I get it now. I get it now. Can you imagine what it is to be in a world of women? And I'm sorry, can you imagine what it is to be a woman in a world of men and most of them are pathetic?
Make it stop. Make the hurt stop, please. Like, I'm curious. I mean, it's hard to tell with the sample of one, but did you see her behaving in ways that would have been different if there had been other girls there? Was she more like a boy? Was she like, what did you observe in terms of her behavior?
She seemed pretty ordinary and a little bit baffled, to be honest, by the behavior of these boys. Like, why, Carlos, why did you think that hitting Edward was going to impress me?
Oh, so she was kind of reasoning with them, though. But so she was.
Well, this is me imputing sophisticated thoughts to a 4-year-old that perhaps.
It's beyond reason, though. It really is beyond reason. But it is simple as that. Like, Pookie, why did you think that chimping out on a panel would somehow really impress her? It's that type of shit.
Perhaps she did not actually have. But I remember seeing the boys fight with each other and then turn to her like, hey, look what I just did. And her just kind of looking at them like, why would you think I would care or be impressed by that? Interesting.
I want to talk about this agreeableness trait. So, as my audience knows, I started an all-female sort of viewpoint diversity, intellectual dissident kind of community a couple of years ago. It's called The Unspeakeasy. So the podcast is The Unspeakable. I created this community around it called The Unspeakeasy because I was noticing that women were coming to me and saying, I love your podcast. I love the conversations you have on here. And I can't have these conversations with my friends. And I feel alienated from my community, from certain family members, from my book club, from the parent group, whatever it is. And it's not only like, intellectually disappointing, it's actually heartbreaking. And there was a cohort of women that, for whatever reason, were just not able to sort of go along with this agreeableness that they were seeing with their friends, who were then, of course, going along with the whole wokeness project, whatever you want to call it. And I really started to get the feeling that it was women who were not only controlling cancel culture, but responsible for most of the thought policing. I mean, these are huge generalizations, and obviously men do it too. And every time I say this, I get people yelling at me, and throwing, a million counter examples. But how much of a hindrance do you think this agreeableness is with women, for women?
It's the root of the problem, because you can't. If you're too high in agreeableness, and then you can't tolerate differences of opinion or conflict, and then if you can't do that, then you tend to ostracize people who are occasions for conflict. If there's somebody who has a little bit too many rough edges, you can't deal with that, so you have to exclude them from the group. So yeah, but I've been around on this planet for almost 40 years now, and I've come to understand that agreeableness is not a quality that I possess, but it's not a bad thing. I'm glad that there are people out there who are very high in agreeableness, and they have a role to play, and they're wonderful people, and I'm not better than they are because I'm low agreeableness. For a long time, I thought that I was, and eventually I realized that no, it's just we're just different. Everybody's got a different role to play in this wonderful world. But the place where the rubber hits the road for me is agreeableness good or bad for your profession or for your institution, right? Like I'm very happy for women to be out there having their high agreeableness, but don't do it in the academy.
You know what? I think I have the perfect candidate. Maybe. I'm testing a theory right now. I think I might have the perfect candidate for a particular aspect of the conversation. Because I know Imperious, you're very want to go on the racial attack. And it's fine, it's fair. I'll allow it to some degree as long as it keeps the show moving forward. But I think though, I want to ask you about white women's racial agreeableness. As a white man who is racially aware, Imperious, it's come to my attention that as much as, like I said earlier, black men get accused of being some type of race traitor for being conservative, by that very same logic and measure, white women are somewhat traitorous by being not so much just liberal, but extremely liberal to the point of just straight up, I hate white men. As if it doesn't take a white man and a white woman to make her. You know what I mean? It's such a weird position for white women to be so openly hostile.
Women are next of kin to chaos, so they're self-destructive. If you leave a woman up to their own devices, they'll destroy themselves. So I look, a woman, because white women have been given everything, they're just going to destroy themselves faster. This is not this has zero to do with race. I've dated all kinds of race, and I'm telling you, women
I'll
are.
tell you why it does have to do with race. Because America is behind on the timeline. Like if you look at something like Europe is a lot further ahead on the timeline. And so you have basically white women being like completely welcoming to a hostile male population. And at the same time, accusing their own men of all the sexual crime, all of the weird stuff against women, all the stuff that is more cultural to those new foreign guys. They accuse their own men of all the crimes against women. It's such a weird dynamic. Like you accuse your men of being evil and violent, and then you invite these violent patriarchal men over. You see what I mean?
Well, you're right in that it's just farther ahead, but this happens all over the world, dude. Like anywhere where women are given any freedom to think or do anything, this is what happens. Like the only places this isn't happen is when it's legal to grape a woman if you see her on the street without a man.
The only reason why I'm taking a particular focus on like the white woman per se is because Helen herself is kind of putting wokeness on the feet of white women, and then by extension blaming wokeness for the fall.
No, I agree. White women are
We're kind of talking about that.
No, I agree. White women are safe.
Nobody gives a shit if China falls, right? Nobody gives a shit if fucking India falls. You feel me?
Well, it's not just that. It's just, like I said, white women are just, they know, again, it's more of a product of being given so much more than everybody else that they're unaware that the world is dangerous. White women have been completely removed from all dangers in the world. That the world literally isn't the way that you and I see it to them. They don't see war as a reality. They don't see getting punched in the mouth. They don't even see getting yelled at as a reality. Like when people tell them, hey, I've been yelled at, people are pissing me off. That's why when they see people fight on the bus or something, they start screaming, stop it, because literally it's so alien that it is a existential, like, oh, this can't happen, this is an alien. because they've been removed from that so much. It's nothing more than that. If you did this to black women, Asian women, whatever, they would do the same thing. It's just that white men have removed white women from every conceivable danger to the maximum extent. I mean, there is reality that things, but you know what I mean?
Well, this is a theory of mine, and I've been kind of tracking it somewhat over the years, and I've been pointing out how as the racial tensions come to a head, and as white people sort of demographically fall back and other racial demographics assert themselves politically, like this little election cycle, we had a lot of brown, like Indian and whatnot people get elected. And so, there's this whole thing going on in little Somalia with Ilhan Omar. I just watched a little video of her, like that one weird, funny looking guy in Minnesota, he lost because of some tribal infighting. And then they had Ilhan Omar get up there to rally the troops. But like the point I'm making is that as all these other groups come into a little bit more in power and they become a little bit more ethnically aggressive, I predict white women will eventually start to turn, and they'll turn on a dime at some point. Like the Sydney Sweeney thing is interesting, but I do predict white women kind of getting.
No, well, that's what happens. Is it's fun for white women until it's not, and then they go running back to white men to butcher the world. That's essentially what's going to happen. Because it could be the population could be 20 to 30% white, and if the white men want to get up and do something, it's going to be the white men that are going to butcher everyone.
Right, because even if you look in like England or any of these European countries, they're still majority white, like heavily. And so, like,
dude, the UK is 91% white.
This is what I'm saying.
And the thing is in the US, people forget. Yeah, it may be 68% Caucasian white, but if you include Latinos who identify white, it's over close to 80. You know what I mean? Like Latinos consider
that's a little iffy, but some of that will bleed.
No, I'm telling you, I grew up in Southern California. They don't consider themselves like Mexican or Latino, like a lot, like a Canelo Alvarez type or a guy that's mixed, or they don't like. I'm not Latino.
It's like a Cafe Malay white though. It's a little bit different.
No, it's not though. Like I'm telling you, like, dude, they remember biologically, like DNA wise, they're predominantly white. They're 60 to 7% white.
I mean, yeah, they're Spaniards, I guess, if you're going to go there. They're European. So
that's what I'm saying. They are like, dude, who rules all of the countries in South America? The whitest looking people, right?
Right.
So they themselves, even in their own cultures, like the mestizos, or like even like, dude, down in Mexico, dude, if you want to see like racism, be black or be freaking like indigenous in Mexico and see other people that treat you.
Just this last night, this morning, whatever, the conversation on Witch Doctors was about colorism, right? And so I immediately told the girls, the colorism thing is mostly bullshit. It's a woman's thing. Men don't necessarily operate purely on this color thing like the women do, because it's a lot about beauty and all that. And then later on in the conversation, somebody mentioned India and South America. Now, South America is a little bit softer, but India has had a rigid caste system. I don't know if it's as strong as it was back in the day, but they were known for their caste system, which is very much color line enforced. Whereas like South America, it's a little bit quasi, like, soft racism type of thing. And as I understand it, I'm a foreigner from far away describing some shit, but the thing is, that's colorism, the way like black women in America are describing it, right? But that's not what black women in America really experience for the most part. So I thought it was ironic. Like, no, that you have no idea what real colorism can get into. You girls are
they don't know. Like, dude, there's shadeism down in South America. There's like the Ecuadorians aren't the same as the Guatemalans, even though they look exactly alike or next to each other. They don't consider themselves the same race. The Mexicans look down on everybody south of them because they consider themselves like the most white. Like, dude, I built homes in South America and shit. I spent a lot of time there on missions and stuff. It's a completely different kind of world of racism. Same thing in Asia. Like the Japanese are like the top of the Asian hierarchy. Like the Chinese are actually kind of like middle lower. Like the Cambodians are the lowest of the Asians. Like things like dude, there's so much different. People don't know, dude. Like they don't.
I'm kind of tying these threads together. Is one of the things that this lady Helen was just bringing up was the idea of female agreeableness. Like they don't necessarily care about the winner or the loser of the conflict. They just want the conflict over because conflict itself bothers them. So, you know, they don't really get into the details. They just want to fight. So they don't
kind of
necessarily problem of the immigration as an issue, the way men see
No,
it.
well, but you know what immigration is essentially. All this is like, dude, it's women crying out for their men to become the type of men that will kill and rape them.
Yeah,
That's
but it's
all.
a weird thing in the Western context. You're not wrong. I'm not disagreeing at all. But what I'm saying is this: on top of what you just laid out, it's like they've went through this process of attempting to handcuff their men as much as they possibly can, and then say, "I need you to go kill and grape for my honor." Like that's kind of what I'm talking
Because
about.
we're
That's
looking
the
at it
weird
in
thing.
a logical manner when they're not a creature that works in like a logical A plus B equals C manner.
I get
They
it,
just go.
but it's just a weird it's paradoxical
No,
is
it
what I'm
does.
saying.
To me, it doesn't. To me, it makes perfect sense if you look at it in their existence. They like this is it's a very simple like the women. I think we complicate it way more. Women can't exist without men letting them live or helping them survive. They know this.
But here's
Everyone
the
knows.
kicker. Here's the kicker. I think there's a resentment that comes from that, and from that resentment
Exactly. Yeah.
breeds chaos, and if
Yeah.
chaos is like a
It's
fire that
no,
grows.
it's the resentment that every day they know that their existence is under our good graces. But their whole thing is as a resentment to that, they want to manipulate and take that from them and then impose it back on us so that that's why women can't allow men to have men's spaces, because in women's minds they're like, oh shit, they're conniving to put us back in the breeding stall, because innately the woman's greatest fear is to be treated like cattle, to just be put in like a breeding house and bred and stuff, because they desperately want to be more than that, but at the same time know they can't be more than that. That's why the first thing a woman always does without thinking is working on her looks in the morning. Like it's not even like they know their breeding object. This is what I'm saying. You can't argue with a cow that doesn't want to be milked. What do the cattle do that? What do they do? They put a bullet in the back of its head. Like essentially what the
That
problem
sounds
is.
harsh, doesn't it? That sounds really fucking
But
harsh.
that's what cattlemen do. That's if there's a cow that can't be milked, that won't produce, they just get rid of it. Unfortunately, men, because they have daughters, have egos imposed into things that they think are human. To me, I don't consider women and men like women completely human, because human and it encompasses consciousness, like cognition. Women
But
don't know
here's the
what.
problem with that paradigm, Imperius, though. You need the thing to make the thing, right? And so it takes two humans to make a human. And so as much as we as men kind of are almost repelled, even because I'm hearing it in the language that you use, and I'm not even shocked by it to a degree. I kind of lean toward what you're saying, even in its extremity. However, I think though you can't escape the fact that we kind of need that.
No,
even on a societal level, there's that weird
But we
sort of
need-
like you know how
I
chaos
get it.
is a foundation for creation at the same time. So all I'm saying is though we need that.
I
But
get it.
you got
What I'm trying to say is that we need air and water too. Those aren't human. Like you need to treat them as a mechanistic object to do what you have to do with them. Like that's like this is what I'm saying. Like I explained this. Women and men love completely different. Men love women like you just looking to go, oh, I love you. I just love what you are. I just want to grab you and kiss you and hold you. Women don't feel that way about men. They love you, only what you can help them serve. God damn it. You're just talking. I'll just go.
No, I'm sorry. I had a thought. You got it. I'm sorry. I had a thought. I was about to go. You got finish your thought.
It's not a hard, like we go into too much depth on it. It's like, this is what I'm saying. Like we're sitting here analyzing I don't care about any of this. It's just an exchange. Women say, I'll let you plug me every day to take out your frustrations on the world and breed me. You just keep me alive. That's the entire relationship.
This is
There's
what I was about
nothing to think more than that.
This is what I was about to
nothing more to
interject with.
discuss beyond that. Nothing. I don't like to discuss anything more than that.
This is what I realized. Like just last night, I'm having this conversation and I'm talking about the pat on the head and all of that shit. And like you were saying, it's crude, right? And it's crude, but it needs to be crude for us as men. It needs to be crude. Women don't really kind of equate in this moment, but it needs to be crude because I realized that the men that I was talking to, they had a problem dealing with women as a thing, and they made the women too much of like a token or something, like something to be worshipped, something to gain. Almost it's like watching people go on some type of spiritual quest,
It's
bro. It's
people that
fucking
have no
bizarre.
hope in their own life, that have no real confidence or hope in their life, so they make pussy their life. You
Sorta
hear it
like
on panels. You hear it on panels every day. Man, you know, you're right, but man, I can't go without pussy.
But no, what's
And as-
weird about it is that it's in this little dynamic. It's a guy who's married. His wife is at home. It's a woman who's married. Her husband is at home. So theoretically, both of these people are locked away. But he can't help but simp for her nonstop. And it's like, bro, what do you get from this? And that's what blew me away. It's like you have a hard time separating because it's like no matter what, you
well,
know,
dude,
pussy,
it's
woman.
beyond that. They don't think like this is. There was a video my friend, she pulled up and was showing me on her phone yesterday, and it had something to do. Girls should stay in their like their fairly, like not fair, like their glitzer. It's something about like their kind of pretend mind. And it was like a Rosario Dawson posted it on her X or something, and she was showing me, and it literally says girls should stay in like their glitzy or something like, and it's like women should believe that fairies exist. 2, women should believe that they can skip through the fields and everything is lovey-dovey. 3, women should believe that they glow when they're happy. It's literally women don't exist in the world. This is what I'm saying. You can't discuss, you can't talk. This is what I'm like, people are under this pattern, like you talk to them. You can't, like, I don't. Like, I have purged myself from the desire or the control of women that I've gotten so much pussy throughout my whole life. I don't care. And now I've cut myself off for almost 5 years. Now I don't need it. There's nothing that's why when I walk by a woman, I look at them like they're a fucking alien.
So what are you, like a monk right now?
No, I mean, I look at women and get like, damn, she's hot in my head, or I'll get horny. Yeah, but
yeah, I mean, but like,
no, but what
you're
it is, what it is, it's a growth of my own ego. Like
That's
if that is even
wild.
possible, you have to commit yourself to worshiping your own ego to defeat women.
That's why. I mean, maybe that's the way, but that's a lie. That's a lie. That's heavy.
No. To me, nothing would be worse than breaking the commitment I have to myself that no one's going to control me like that.
Are you guys hearing this?
And to know to be, that's why I'm so self-obsessed, because I've proved to myself, what is the one way that men control other men? They're controlling women. Women are a tool. Like, that's why you said earlier, women are in control. No, they're not. It's the top end of men that have created an entire economy and an entire mating paradigm just by controlling female biology. You control You control female biology. 99% of men, all you have to do is a woman just bends over, and those hormones that seep out of her pussy, men just go into a drunken stupor with.
Let me jump in real quick, because that I do agree with. That we're going to put that other part aside for the moment, but that is a heavy thing you just laid out there. The whole abstinence. It's a hard road. It's a hard road. If you can do it,
it's hard. But dude, the ego, like, see, that's the thing. Like, the euphoria that people get from sex, it's 100 times greater. Like, dude, you know that feeling like when it's similar to if you've ever competed in front of a group of people, if you've ever accomplished something, that feeling of I'm levitating. I'm fucking levitating off the ground. Like, like the mustache man, Stalin, the world, like Napoleon.
Hold on. What zero pussy does to a man, you fucking levitating off the ground.
Dude, the greatest men in history didn't get their biggest ego off fucking women. They got it off on dominating, controlling, imposing. Like, dude, like you think Stalin sat there? Like, you know that song by Lil Wayne fucking talking about what was that one? I'm right above it. What does he say? He says, life is a beach, I'm playing in the sand. It's not about women. It's about fucking creating reality around you, creating your abstract into your reality. That is dude, you literally feel like you're fucking floating, dude. Like
All right, hold on. We got to take a break. We got to take a quick break. I just need to do a little station business. We're going to get right back to you. But shout out to Joey Montana with the $4.99. Real Ninja Reparations. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for that. And then also, we got a new member to the church. Welcome to the church, my man Plumpy, new member. Please take your seat in the front row. Thank you, all the new members joining up.
Get it again. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. I come in the name of Jesus. Repeat it after me, bitch. I come in the name of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Now, Imperious, let me say this, because what you're saying, I'm trying not to go like complete like joke hilarity with it, but there's some comedy to it. But I do think there's a truth in this, right? You have kind of touched on something that I think is it's an intrinsic truth, right? And this is like why men can be monks and shit like that. There is a power on a grand societal level, right? If men want women to be different, then men have to apply pressures to women that women actually care about. And I think men abstaining from women, and then by the power of abstination, becoming colder a little bit toward women, it will definitely apply the kind of pressure that women care more about. Like the panel shit is nothing.
But you don't even have to be cold to them. Honestly, stop expecting them to be more than what they are. It's that men literally put like a male love into women and expect women to love them the way they love women. That's all it is. That's the problem men have. Stop expecting more of what they are. Like, do you expect a 5-year-old to bench press 135?
You know what's crazy, bro? I look at my son sometimes and I see him trying to do things, and I just know he's not there yet. And one day, because he'll be a man, I know he can get there. And then I have daughters at the same time, right? And I look at my daughters sometimes trying to do the same things my son will do, and I know they'll never do what he could do.
That's the thing. We've been brainwashed into these realities of everyone's the same, everyone's born equal, they can do all the same stuff if they put their mind to it, and we create a fair, all that is a female imperative. It's because we've been removed from the dangers of the world. And as long as you're removed from danger, you don't need masculinity. Like, that's all. Hardship and danger is the realm of masculinity. Easiness and luxury is the domain of femininity.
Listen, Imperious, I'm sorry. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, I'm like Manos is like, dude, that feeling of personal accomplishment and gaining and going after something, that is what I'm saying. Like, I've competed in front of a lot of people. I've done things in my professional life, personal life, that I feel like it doesn't even mean a bunch of people, just knowing it and achieving those goals. It literally feels like an out-of-body levitating experience. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's the males are driven to accomplishment. Like, the greatest high is when a man wins an NBA title, when a man wins the freaking, I don't know, wins a Supreme Court case, when he wins an election to get something like that. It's winning something. It's accomplishing, being tested and overcoming. That's when men get that elevating supernatural feeling.
You know what? You're definitely the wrong person to share this comment with and have this particular conversation with, but I'm gonna spit it out anyway because I need to. I think that particular sentiment is something that I feel. Not only do I see it, but it's a feeling also that's mostly lacking in Black male America. No. Not just men. Not just men. I'm talking about my particular corner. You can criticize white men on your
but
time.
Look, you have Andrew Wilson's and Destinies representing white men.
No. Did you see Andrew Wilson and CGA?
Greg Adams?
Yeah,
dude,
I don't really care for either side of the debate.
I called this shit years. Greg.
It's like it's like whoring forever versus marrying somebody's whore forever. Both sides of the debate piss me off. God damn it.
Yeah. I didn't agree with either, but what I was enjoyed to see is to show that, you know what, at least Coach Greg is upfront with who he is. He's not trying to be someone he's not. True. Andrew is trying to be someone he's not, and he got called out for it because I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a secret. Andrew in high school and throughout his life was a fucking geek. He was picked on, punked around. And Greg Adams, being an athlete, like I was an athlete most of my life, he was a D1 football player. So he played in front of 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people. He smelled the bitch in Andrew. He knew that, dude, you're playing something you're not. You can try to push me and pressure me. I've been under pressure you cannot imagine. And he punked him. He just put his, if you notice, he would put his hand up and go, please, let me speak here. I'm going to speak here until this is. And Andrew would quiet. He put Andrew back into 16-year-old Andrew Wilson in high school. And what someone like Greg Adams did to him in high school, a football player, punked his ass. You can win a debate on a lot of different ways. Neither of them had substance that I agreed with.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't even disagree with that, but it's like I don't think there was a real winner. Like both didn't. Neither came out clean.
Yeah, I think what I'm saying. Look, Greg, I think won just because look, everyone expected Wilson to go in there and win a debate style thing, and Greg. If you took the audience poll before, let's say you took like them in front of 1,000 people, and you said who you thought was going to win before, it would have been like 15% Greg, because everyone's like, oh, Andrew's, look, what do they call him on whatever, debate god, when Coach Greg Adams is not a debater and just exposed him. Because if Greg was an actual debater, he would have obliterated him, because he would have said, okay, Andrew, you're talking about ecclesiastical marriage and social pressure when you're the Mr. Force Doctrine guy. So how do you reconcile not physically forcing women to have sex or doing things, but just caving to social pressure? You should know above everything, social pressure means nothing without physical force. Women aren't going to quit OnlyFans just by shaming them when they're making millions of dollars. You got to break their head.
And you know what? And that kind of brings us back to the we got dirty folks on the panel. Welcome to the show.
And I'm
Dirty.
sorry, I'm not trying to be crass. I'm not
No,
trying
you're
to
not.
like
No, it's not even that. I didn't cut you off for that at all.
I'm being hyperbolic. I hope everyone in the audience understands.
Yeah. I didn't even stop you for that at all. What I was about to get to though, because we were kind of talking for a while. I just brought a new guest on the panel, and I actually wanted to let the clip play a little bit longer. And we're kind of, because you and I have been going at this for like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. But I want to let the clip play a little bit more, and then we're gonna have some other people comment as well.
The tenor of the culture started to change, and there was all these kind of blank slate ideas, and that boys and girls were
that's
the
the
same,
tabula rasa
and
thing.
these were all of these sex differences were socially constructed and imposed upon us, and it was our duty as enlightened modern people to override that. And I think about this all the time, and it seems to me that like this was useful to a certain degree. Like, I don't think anybody could really make the argument that it was a total disaster. Like, this should never have even been embarked upon. But it does seem like there's been an overcorrection or a naivete, really, about some of these realities. So can you kind of sort of go back and like, where do you actually see this starting? Do you like, point the finger at it's Gloria Steinem and Phyllis Schlafly was actually on to something and we demonized her? Like, how do you think this through?
Yeah, and no, in this house we respect Phyllis. We respect Phyllis Schlafly. But I think the biggest problem and one of the biggest obstacles in having this conversation that I have personally encountered is a confusion between second wave feminism as it was in the 70s or 80s and feminization as it exists today, because these are just completely different things, even though one obviously led to the other. In the 70s and 80s, feminists were advocating for women to be reporters at the New York Times, right? Like, there was a lawsuit in the mid-1970s of women who wanted more roles as reporters at the New York Times. They said, don't put me on the society desk. I want to be out there chasing stories. And, respect for women who wanted to do that. And at that time, women were 10% of the reporters at the Times. And it was that way in a lot of feminist groundbreaking cases. Women wanted to be economics professors. And for a long time, she would be the only female economics professor in her department, or she would be the only female lawyer at her law firm. And that was great, because what that involved was male institutions operating by masculine rules, admitting a few women who could hit with the boys, who could compete with the best of them. But then, without anybody really intending for things to change so much.
That's about as far as I go with so-called feminism and women's rights and all that. Because, I am not so much a caveman that I'm like, a woman can't fly a plane. I just think most women absolutely
That's not a
can't.
caveman.
No, hear me out. Let me flesh it all the way out. But because all I wanted to say is that I don't think that there's absolutely zero women who can do whatever job you want to name, right? I just don't like the idea of funneling women into positions as a matter of policy. I think they need to have the same rigorous standards. Like when you had that, and this is Hollywood, so fucking Hollywood, I get it, but I want to make a point. When you had that movie G.I. Jane, when Sigourney, no, not Sigourney, what was the chick's name who shaved her head off? Demi Moore. It was Demi Moore. So she shaved her head off to be a Marine. And obviously the head shaving was crazy symbolic. That's why they made her the picture and all that, like the poster and everything. But the thing is, like, the point of her in that movie was she did everything that the men had to do to be like the men. And she damn near embodied a man. She basically became a dyke so she can go out and be a soldier, which is basically what it takes as a woman. As a woman, you want to be like the men, you're basically going to end up as a dyke. And so I like that part of it for what it meant symbolically, but that's as far as I'm willing to go. I just hate the idea of this culture of like funneling women into everything. That's way too much, bro.
There's only one true, one realistic woman in that kind of thing in a Hollywood or media aspect. Sigourney Weaver in Alien is the only true woman that actually represented of what a woman would act like in that kind of situation.
Now we're getting into film shit, but yeah, definitely.
Because she tried to avoid it, run from it, get away from everything she possibly could, and in the end, she accidentally killed it by her own, somehow, and she knew that she had to get the hell out. It wasn't like she was sitting there like a tough girl trying to fight. Like she had that part in Aliens too, but even then she knew she had to get this shit she wasn't trying to think she was a dude. Remember, she relied on the Marines for 90% of the movie to protect her and protect the kid. You know what I mean? And only when it was a dare necessary that it was her life or everyone's life and she stepped up. That would be a realistic thing because women have done that through history where it's like, like they don't want to fight, but if it came down to, they do sacrifice and can do stuff.
Imperial, speaking of women having done that, and just purely in Americana, there was a story, I forget the name of the lady or whatever, but there was a woman, I came across the story. She got kidnapped by Indians. This is back way earlier in the settler days. She got kidnapped by Indians, and you know how they do, it's just rape and torture and the whole deal or whatever. She eventually got free. She scalped a couple of Indians on her way out, led an escape party of all the other slaves that were with her. Like, she was just on a warpath by the time she got home. And it was like just a regular girl that got caught up. Like, it's not that women can't do amazing shit, but I think just making a policy of trying to make women amazing is going to make us all dead,
When do we make it? When do we say men are amazing?
Men have to earn that shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, but what I'm saying is every fucking Hollywood movie is like an extremely crazy, jacked monster of a dude that every guy wishes they were. Like a Jason Momoa or a Henry Cavill, some jacked 6'6", 250 linebacker. Dude, that's 1% of dudes. That's the entire point. It's supposed to be a crazy outlier. That's why Wonder Woman works, because she's like a freaking whatever, like a Amazon that's like powered up and shit. Okay, I can believe that. Great.
And she mostly works around the guys. She sucks on her own.
Well, no, I mean, she kicks the shit up, but she also realizes she ain't ever going up against Superman.
Well, yeah, that's that. But
she ain't going up to Clark and punching him in the face and saying, "I'm tougher than you, Clark."
Let me get Dirty folks in here. What's going on, Dirty? I ain't talked to you in a minute. How you been, man? Dirty. Hold on. That's why I couldn't hear your voice. Your mic is all screwed, bro. You got to start that over. Yeah, bro. It ain't even gonna work at all. Yeah, you got that. I'm in a phone booth and I've got to pay a ransom mic. That shit crazy. Nah, start it over. I'm telling you, your sound is way muffled, bro. It's way too muffled for the show. Got to plug some things in. I don't know what you got set up over there, but no, Imperious though. The whole situation, you know, look at this meme that we have right here. This is one of my favorite memes. You remember these videos going around on the internet? Itty bitty titties in a bob.
Yeah, that itty bitty titty with a bob shit.
So look at this right here. This is like a Reddit post. Finally get a job. Average of 7 to 8 Zoom meetings per day. Woman to man ratio at least 10-1. This economy isn't real. Daycare to make sure women don't have children. This is an old Reddit meme, but yeah, this is kind of like how
Essentially, that's kind of what it
feels
is.
about
It's
women
just to
working.
convince women not to have kids so you can bring in a new population that's more subservient. That's all.
And the women are happy as hell to go along with it. That's what's the killer about this whole thing.
Well,
You know,
because they don't.
itty
This
bitty
is what I'm
titties
saying.
in a
Because
bob.
all you, because they everything women is in their mind, everything they do, everything is just under the paradigm of how does it make me feel in this second. And if you can, and anything, you can convince anyone that thinks that way that anything is good in the moment.
Is that better? Am I getting better or worse now?
Are you using a tin can and a string?
Bro,
You sound like you're underwater, bud.
wow, that's crazy. I don't know what's wrong with my mic. Oh, I got another.
Are you using the right mic? Sounds like you're far away from it. Are you using the one in the laptop or something?
No, I got the box. I'm using hold on, I got some.
Hey, just put in a ticket, man. I'll take a look at it.
Sound like my IT department at work. Just put in a ticket.
All right. So you were saying?
I was just saying, man, like what it is it's to make women go. You have to convince them that their biological nature. It's like a mix. It's two things. It's saying you can never accomplish what you biologically want to, so don't try. Because what you really said to them is they have to work all their lives for them to survive, but they can never work enough to have a kid.
You know, this is kind of bringing us to the last part of the problem, right? Like talking women off the ledge.
Yeah, you have to let them fail.
It doesn't seem probable that you can just sort of talk them off the ledge. And at best, what you can only do is either muscle them off the ledge, or, you know, like you said, let them fail, and, you know, you maybe catch a couple of them on the way down. But like, what else can you do? Because it's at a point where societally, like legally, socially, you know, there isn't really much you can do logically. It has to be a matter of will.
That's all it is, because you're fighting an emotion.
Is this working?
Hold on.
There you go, man. There you go.
Hold on, Imperious. Yeah. We got some new people up here. Dirty folks, you got a loud mic now.
Hercules, I can turn it down, but
no, you good. Keep it right where it is.
Hercules. You know what, bro? It's crazy. I had these conversations all the time, right? Number one, beat her like Harpo. Harpo got a beat her. There is no, if you can't enforce it, it doesn't exist, right? And women have never been shamed. Number two that I want to say is the clip that you played with the two salad eating women. They're liars, bro. But I expect it because girls can't count. But there's no difference between a 1970s woman and a 2020 woman, except the 2020 woman has the money to be as disrespectful as a 1970s woman was fighting to make, so she could be disrespectful. That first wave feminism was 1940s, bro. That was a silent generation adding that into the civil rights movement. By 1970, they was already single mothers.
I agree with that. I think women have always been exactly what they are. They're just unchained at this point.
They've just never been able to, because guys used to chop their heads off most of history if they messed around.
You had to put the hole in the backyard and point to it sometimes, bro. You have to have a society.
Because they're not a thinking creature. They're just act. They just feel like, I don't like this right now, so I'm going to go do this right now. I'm going to cheat. Like, that's how they think. They don't go like it's literally, that's how they think. They just go,
women
you
can't
make me mad, I didn't get what I want for dinner, I'm going to fuck this other guy to get back at him.
Women can't think. Men need to quit saying that, because then you
exactly
think women feel stuff and they know stuff.
But they don't think. Yeah, they don't think. They feel.
Yeah, they can't. And they really don't know shit. They just memorize because that's what school
Yeah,
is.
they regurgitate
Memorization.
what they're told.
Yeah,
If you ask them why they believe what they believe, or if you ask them more in-depth questions like why on their belief, they can't answer. They just go, well, I think that's fair. That's all it goes back to. I think that's fair.
No, it tends to be something feeling oriented. Like if you're dealing with a woman who's a little bit wordy, she'll give you a sentence. It'll be logic and not logic. It'll be English and understandable, but it'll ultimately be feelings based.
They'll speak a ton and say nothing.
Sort of like that. Yeah, sort of like that.
You know what I did for football, bro? I asked all the girls I knew. Like I knew what they did for a living. Like I know your job. Tell me how to do your job. If I were your intern, how could I do it? Nobody knew how they did their job, bro. Nobody could teach me how to do what they do every day, B.
Hey, Freeman's Journal, you're about to jump in there. Let me ask you a question directly though. Are women amazing and do they ruin everything equally at the same time?
Yes.
All right, please elaborate.
Well, no, I mean, they're soft, they smell good, right? They're nice to have around, but like a cat though, right? They can't be all up under you. They got to be around.
Cat is great.
Right?
You
Around,
should get
but
one.
not like a golden retriever, like a cat. They come up, get petted, then they go away.
A cat would be better for my life. I think I'm more of a cat
is a
person
perfect
right now than
analogy
a
for a
dog
woman
person.
because they're temperamental like women. Like if you pet them too long, then they bite you. They'll walk up and hit you for no reason, or they'll walk up and rub you for no they're perfect analogies for a woman.
Hold on, Freeman. All right, we cut you off. Yeah, you cat person, you got it. I think I might be a cat person though, but you got it.
That is why they're generally associated with cats, right? Dogs are for men, cats for girls. That's perfect reasoning. So, but the thing is, look, you don't have to convince chaos to do a thing, right? You only have to allow it. If you stop allowing it, then chaos stops. That's really it. The notion that you can't put the genie back in the bottle, right, is true. But you don't have to put the genie back in the bottle. All you have to do is give women actual equality. That's it. Stop preferring them.
Give
make them
like a
compete
child.
with
Give a
men.
child what it actually wants. Like when a child says, "I want to eat ice cream all night." Okay, let it eat ice cream. Yak.
Yeah. So that's all you got to do, right? You know
Well,
what I
here's
mean?
the question now. Here's the question. Let's stop there because I have to stop you there. This is important. It's not about the individual, the theoretical, abstract man or woman. I think when we're having this conversation, it can only matter if we're having it in the context of Western civilization. Let me bring this graphic back up on
What's
the
her name? Miss
screen.
Cantrell wrote a good quote up of Nietzsche.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I want to bring up J.D. Unwin's graphic real quick because he's talking about women's equal rights destroying civilization. And the question now is, how much of allowing women to fail do you tolerate before it actually brings the whole house down? Because that's really the civilizational problem we're having.
Hold on. I want to stop you there. Look, it's not about women's sexual freedom. It is about men's sexual access. That is the problem. They wanted.
Isn't their access part of their freedom, though? Isn't one from the other?
No.
It's different.
One
Different.
precedes the other, right?
Okay,
Post World War
okay.
II, what happened in 1953? Playboy started, which would have been unthinkable pre-World War II, right? Men wanted sexual access. Here comes Playboy, and about 10 years later, what comes next? Second wave feminism, right? These
What
things
really
are
did
not.
it? No, what
not
really
linked.
did it? What really did it was us alleviating them from natural fucking consequences with the pill. Once
I mean,
women
this
could
is-
have sex and not be bred every time they have sex, there was no consequences, and you let literal Pandora's box open where chaos reigns because
It's
me-
all
you
the
have-
same process.
Let me read this quote that you highlighted a second ago, Imperious. Shout out to Miss Cantrell with the beautiful profile pic. The true man wants two things, danger and play. For that reason, he wants woman as the most dangerous plaything. Friedrich Nietzsche. God damn, see, that's why I like you. God damn, you got booty in them brains.
Yeah, Nietzsche talks about this.
Booty in the
He
brain. Is
talks-
that an MC Hammer song, sir? Booty in the brain.
I don't know, but that just came
But it's
to me.
more than just booty. It's this. You want to like men want to control that feminine chaos. Men get ego driven by thinking that they're so good that a woman will control her chaotic nature to stay with them. That's the male ego in the we as men think, oh, we're gonna make that woman different than her nature of jumping from man to man because I'm so damn good that she can't find another man like me. That's what it is. We know as men. We all deep down know every minute, every fight, every moment is a moment that we're in the back of our head going, oh God, is she going to freaking break up and just leave and go do something stupid?
I think that's a John point of view though, bro. And I think that's why me and my dad can see eye to eye about women. My dad, like, I want to pimp the hoe, and my dad be like, oh my God, why you gonna let that dude hit you in the back of the head? I'll rescue you.
Even the pimping is her winning.
I think I can tie the thread together.
Is her winning.
I think I can tie the thread together. Hold on, give me a second, Imperius. Tell me if I'm wrong after this, right? I think studies have shown that marriage in and of itself lowers a man's testosterone. And I think part of that is because it is an intentional subverting of your most raw base male nature to actually commit to like marriage under the Christian paradigm, one man, one woman, forever locked in. And so once you're locked into that, now as a man, it does kind of you get chained to some shit that sometimes you just got to eat.
Because a man sacrificing his own personal perfection of what I want for every woman for the greater of society by saying I can't have a perfect woman, but I'll pick this one. And she's good enough.
Here's the thing that you were saying, Imperius, about the whole every time you have an argument thing, right? As a man, it is supreme to walk in the air of I don't care if you leave.
Exactly.
But after 10 years of marriage, it's really hard.
It's impossible to.
You see what I mean?
Well, look at the link I put in the back. Post that. Show that picture and that link I post in the back, and we can read that.
Let me scan this first. What is it? Oh, brief fault. Okay, we know brief fault.
No, but it's not just the simple. It's that there's other aspects to it. No past resource allocation confers present resource allocation as valid. So what it's saying is yes, a woman defines the aspect of a relationship by the resources that she can acquire from the man. Part A of that is no prior resource allocation given to her by said man will affect her choice in that moment. So it doesn't matter if you provided her everything in the past.
Yeah, no,
that's you got to think about is that what you can provide for her in that moment.
Oh, okay. Well, immediate gratification. All right.
True. But I don't know if this is a bit of a tangent, but the decision-making process is also filtered through consequences. So if she don't have a better option, then it ain't gonna happen, Kevin.
But the government is always a better option. That's the issue.
The government is not always a better option.
No,
the government is the default. No, government is default option.
So
better is relative, but hold on, better is relative, but yes, government is the default option.
But that's what I mean, as in why women don't even see men as existing. 95% of men don't exist when a woman's walking by.
You know what? Not that this would change radically, but this is a big part of the reason why men are just not really feeling sympathetic during the government shutdown thing. Because and I've said this before, women use the government as leverage against men. And so now that the government doesn't have your back anymore, how can I feel so bad for you? You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, bro. And this changed in the last 90 years, 100 years. I haven't been around that long, but, I remember the silent generation, and especially the boomers, telling you to lie, to pacify. Right. I remember going to my grandparents' house, and my grandfather had a poster that said, in my house, I always get the last two words, yes, dear. You know what I mean? And they try to, this is where tradition comes down. Tradition of things passed from, from parent to child, right? So when you talk about the tradition of slavery and matriarchy of slavery, you're looking at the tradition of cuckolding your son, taking them away from the the natural law and giving him a new normal. Now the new normal is, you got gay drillers because that's the new normal now. But the new normal will always placate the natural law if natural law isn't in effect. So even everything that you guys are saying, I can say that I enjoy women in their natural habitat. I don't like them talking like podcasts, like you trying to think. Don't do that. I like you at the making the what you call it when you put all the vodka and tequila with the fruit in the picture and they doing shooters and I can create an environment for you to have a capricious thought that I could sleep with you in 45 minutes. I don't care if you regret it tomorrow. And I like them in a natural habitat of chaos. If it's controlled chaos. The issue is that most men don't try to control the chaos. They want to placate her and hope you being a good man will stop her from burning down the village. And it won't.
But at the same time, they encourage the village to burn down by their actions, their voting, their posture, and all that. It's such a paradox. Anyway, I want to pass the mic. I want to pass the mic. Angry Snowman, welcome to the show. Before you even start, I want to ask a question directly. Are women amazing, and do they also ruin everything?
Yes, absolutely.
Please elaborate. Tell me more.
Well, they have, parts of them that are absolutely amazing. Then they have other parts. Then they have other parts that absolutely ruin everything.
I could think of like 2 or 3, well, maybe 4 parts.
I'm just saying.
Bitches
are going to be bitches, dude. They ain't changed. They've been the same since the beginning of time. I don't understand why people are having issues with this.
Exactly. They overcomplicate everything.
Because men changed. Women
Men
always been chaos.
overcomplicate everything, like with autism, because it's like I realized this in fucking 5th grade. Girls are girls. Just treat them like little fucking girls. Like tease them, make fun of them. Don't let them that close. They can hang around the peripheral of the friend group, but they're never going to get like that kind of freaking much like seriousness given to them. Like they're there to be pretty and looked at. Like men are such pussies nowadays that they want to make women their friends. They want like their girl to be their mom and their best friend and their travel companion, their nurse. Did your grandfathers do that? Your grandfathers hardly talked to your grandmas. Your grandmothers were in the kitchen. Like with my grandma, she was in the kitchen doing stuff all day. My grandfather was at golf or at business meetings.
I imagine they talked, but it wasn't like what we talk. Like it
not
wasn't
like that.
such
Like
an
they would
equal
talk at the end of the day when they were sitting watching like Wheel of Fortune together a little bit.
Like what'd you do? That's what you did. Okay.
Yeah, well,
that's
not, and
what
it was like quiet. They weren't like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" I didn't do that. No, it was like, "Hey."
Okay. Here's the issue with that, though, fam. Here's the issue with that. So let's go with granddad was caveman with grandma. That's not necessarily true, but it's true to it, right? So let's say that was the case. What grandma was doing while granddad was golfing or drinking beer with his friends or at work was grandma was telling her daughter, "Yo, marriage sucks. Marriage sucks tits."
That seems to be what happened.
Well, kind of, but I think it was more. No, what I think it was is literally. See, what happened is during the World War II, all the Austrian School of Economics and all that got bombed in Austria and Hungary and all that kind of stuff, and everything was blown up. So all those freaking those people came and got their into the academics here right after the war, and that's how it always begins as an academia. It always begins, and what happened is it's not the moms. No, like my grandmother, I remember even when I was like in my teenagers and early 20s, my grandma would say, all these women are devils. They're all evil. They're all satanic.
I'll be honest with you. The best advice I got was about a year and a half ago when some Negro hopped on a panel and said, "Don't talk to women with their clothes on." Best advice I ever got, man. Me and my wife's marriage has never been better.
It's true. Yeah. It's
Sounds
true
like a prophet,
because
man.
everything they say is a shit test that they're just trying to get your reaction to get something, some reaction, some reinforcement of their own insecurity. Like when they ask you everything, they're so insecure. Dude, imagine if you were a creature that every day knew that the other half of the species anytime could just rip your spine right out of your spinal column.
This is what I mean about trying to like not empathy may be the wrong word in this particular context, but like trying to understand what they are from their perspective.
Well, the problem is that you motherfuckers are trying to negotiate with terrorists.
Man,
that's the problem.
Exactly. You gotta be like you're serious.
Hey, dude, you got. Can I speak for a second? I mean, chill out. You guys are trying to negotiate with terrorists. You don't negotiate with you don't negotiate with no one. Period. This is your life. Why the fuck are you trying to negotiate with the person that you're trying to build a life with? It's either you're going to do shit the way shit needs to be done, or you ain't gonna be a part of this no more. It's that simple. There is no negotiation. Stop fucking negotiating with people.
There is no table.
Isn't that what I just said to you guys earlier? And you guys were all saying I'm crazy.
No.
I never said you were crazy. No, hold on. Whoever said you were crazy, even when it was just you and I up here, I never said you were crazy.
No, but what I mean is that you
even if someone we all know someone has to make a final decision on everything.
Right.
Pretend you're negotiating and make the final fucking decision and be done with it.
Or do what women have.
I mean, you can pretend to negotiate without negotiating and actually and just do what the fuck you want. Don't negotiate. Why are you even entertaining this shit?
I agree with that, but I also would like to say that there was a time in which women they didn't know how to think. So for a long time, man, I didn't know my mother's friends knew my dad's name because my husband said Sears called ring. My husband not here, but my goddamn husband. I thought that was his name. My husband. I'm like, what the fuck my dad's real name? There was a time in which you want that. So because my mother understood she was a toddler, right?
And look, I hate that you use that word, but once you realize that your spouse is a toddler, you pay attention to them like you do a toddler. Hardly at all. You just catch little glimpses of shit here and there just so you know what's going on and having what's going on around you, but you ain't paying attention.
Right, they're white noise. When you ever seen the videos of like dad versus mom watching the kid, and the kid is going through with big wheels, smashing the house up. Dad don't care. He watching TV because men have white noise. That's why we don't kill women. Because if I ever actually listened to you, you would die. So all I hear is want, and then keywords. Did you hear me? Yeah, I heard you. What did I say? Babe, quit playing.
Dude, it essentially comes down to what Trump said in his book. The power in a relationship comes with is with the one who cares the least. If you're willing to walk away, the power is with you. It goes with how you want it to go. Problem is men are such pussy hounds that they're like, I got pussy. I need pussy. Oh my God, it's pussy. I can't.
Dude, you can get pussy anywhere. Pussy ain't that hard to get.
But hold on. You hear it on panels every day.
That's because these are motherfuckers that don't get pussy and they think it's hard to get, and it really ain't that hard to get. Girls are really dumb, dude. It ain't that hard to convince a girl to let you fuck.
No, I know. I know, but that's the whole point. No, but hold on. Getting pussy pacifies men. You got to realize that when you get pussy, there are hormones that they put in your body.
No, it goes the other way around, sir.
No, sir. No, they're the ones releasing the hormones and stuff.
I wash her off.
I want to introduce, because Black Socrates, you've been in and out a lot this whole night, and we're kind of in the last act of the show tonight. So I want to get you in here before we go to the last subject. I want to ask a question, but you got it.
Sure.
Socrates.
Go ahead. What's the question?
No, I'm going to ask a question after you make your introduction.
Oh, well, are you guys on the same topic, or did the topic change?
Well, we're talking about what's great about women. What's great about women, and what's bad. Let me ask you what I've asked everyone else coming up so far. Are women amazing, and do they ruin everything?
Women can be amazing, and yes, they do ruin everything.
How do they do so? How do they ruin everything, Socrates?
What happened?
We lost him for a minute. All right, well, we're going to come back to Socrates. I built that up for nothing. Here's a question I really wanted to ask the panel, because this is the last act of the night here. I know I fucked up, but we're going to keep moving, right? The show goes on. Socrates, whenever you get it worked out, you'll be here. Miss Cantrell, the lovely Miss Cantrell, she raises an interesting point, and I want to end on this note. I don't even want to ask let me ask you this. How much do men want to be loved? And how much of that is the problem? Anybody want to step up?
Well, like Freakman is saying in the chat, it isn't. The way for a man to feel love is to be respected. That's what matters. Respect me.
Respect is love.
Yeah.
Obedience.
No, it doesn't even have to be so much as obedience and shit. It's just a certain level of fucking respect. There's
What do you
certain
think that
there's
means?
certain
Hold on,
well, this is what it means.
respect
This is
the word right now, but elaborate more is what I'm asking.
this is what it means. There's a certain way you conduct yourselves when we're out together. There's a certain way you conduct yourself as a mother. There's a certain way that you conduct yourself as my wife.
Okay.
You know? And if you can't do that, that's disrespectful as shit. And you're not just disrespecting me, you're disrespecting everything we've built. Respect. That's what it all boils down to. I could give a fuck less if my wife loves me as long as she respects me.
Yeah, you know the thing, Carmen, when she says, okay, my woman language, I use love, replace it with your man language, LOL, same point. Now, this is the thing, right? For men, the way women use love, the way women even conceive of love, it's not practical to us. And we need practical applications in order to make sense of a thing. And so for men, respect is a more practical application. We understand the world of respect because that's the world of men. We behave amongst each other according to like a grading level of respect. Some guys are more respectable, some guys are less respectable, and we act according to these things. And women, they get to operate like freely within the bounds of what men describe as respect. And that is where the chaos occurs. And so when women say love, like you can love your husband and cheat on him. You can love your husband and talk to him crazy in public. You know, you can love your husband and then still raise the children poorly despite him. Like women's concept of love also encompasses such a huge amount of chaos that it doesn't quite fit for us as men.
See, all those things you just listed though are signs of disrespect. Loving a man but not taking care of kids, disrespectful. Loving a man,
This is what I'm saying. This is what they do
to him out in public, disrespectful. You know,
and they will still say they love you though. That's what, and they will mean it with every fucking heart, every
they don't
blood in
know,
there, every
thing
blood
is,
vessel, every cell in their body will mean love you as they do that shit. Because within them,
bitch
there
doesn't
is
love
a
you.
contradiction
She
that is
don't
inherent
love
within
you
them.
if she can't do that. If she can't fucking
I go a
control
step
herself,
further.
then she don't love you.
No. I think no. Here's where we thread the needle, Snowman. She has to be molded. That thing in her has to be
Fair enough.
I'll
give you that. Train your toddler, bro.
Because without that,
I
that
go
is how she
further.
will perceive it, and she will not be wrong in her mind. Because what else can she go on?
Yeah, you have to train your toddler, bro.
I go
y'all bad
further.
picture.
I go that women biologically aren't capable of love. It's against their survival.
I agree.
And women and women must, their primary instinct is to survive because they're the weaker vessel and the one that incubates.
No,
And so-
I think we can all agree with that. Let me stop you there before you continue. I think we can all agree with that, but socialization is the only thing that we can use to mitigate that. But
I
now
think
continue.
socialization actually makes women worse, and it teaches them how to manipulate. I
Right.
think complete isolation.
Socialization is a neutral thing, though. We can do
No,
what we want with it.
With women, with
no,
us it is because there's the innate threat of violence between men, so it has to be neutral. Women do not. Women use society, use language, use social interactions as a way to manipulate. Their survival is manipulation. Men evolved to manipulate nature. Women evolved to manipulate men.
I agree with that.
Fathers teach their daughters to manipulate.
No, they teach them to drive Chevys.
Freeman, hold on, Freeman. While you spoke up on this concept, let me throw the love question at you. How much do men want to be loved by women, and how much of that is a problem? I want to hear some thoughts from you.
Well, which men?
Men, whoever you want to go with it. I'm just gonna leave it wide open.
Well, I mean, men in general, they seek access, right? And in this society, in our current society, they seek access by acquiescing to female.
Is it me or is he breaking up?
Right?
He breaking up, and I know he's spitting hot fire too.
Freeman, yeah, your signal's in and out right now, like persistently.
There's too much wanting to be loved and not enough authority, right?
Okay,
there you go.
There you go.
So, and then to my other comment, fathers teach their daughters to manipulate, right? the father teaches the daughter. Just if your daughter can blink her eyes at you and then you start changing your mind, you've taught her how to manipulate men. As a father, you did that, right? Else, listen, man, I tell my daughter, like, no, that doesn't work on daddy, right? No, stop saying that. That doesn't work on daddy, right? We're not doing that.
But bro,
right?
that's different though.
No, it is not, man.
I'm
Look,
gonna explain to you why it's different. No,
let
I'm
me-
gonna explain to you why it's
finish
different.
my point.
Well, yeah, let him finish and
You're
dirty
right.
rebuttal.
You're right. Go shoot yourself.
Fathers train their daughters, right? There is a difference. If women come from different cultures, they act completely differently with different expectations, right? If you look at intra relationship violence, right? If you look at that and you segregate it by race, there is one group that has a huge huge outlier in this group, right? Which is Latino men be smacking up their women, basically, right? And that is reflected in how Latino women relate to men. It's just completely different, right? So they in that culture, right, especially Caribbean Latinas, know how to acquiesce to men and treat men a certain way. It just is, right? And that is how it is, right? Dads teach them to either manipulate, right? Well, anything does not. It's a spectrum of choices. It's a spectrum of things. You can either teach them to manipulate, you can teach them to obey, you can teach them to respect, right? Or you can teach them to be chaos.
I think
Right.
that there's a point to what you're making, especially, all these dads out here that are raising their daughters to be independent. That's not helping them to.
I agree with that.
Yeah, if you look at what's that show, the Whatever podcast, a lot of those chicks have dads.
Well, it's because,
They have
dude, I'll
dads,
tell you
and they
why.
had dads in the home, but
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
It's
It's pure ego and selfishness. They don't want to imagine their daughters taking facials like they did to their mother. It's the man's selfishness. I created a woman, and I don't want what I created to get bang blown.
Hey,
Like,
you know
that's
what?
all
Players
it is.
guilt. Are we on
Hey,
players
no.
guilt again?
Get your daughter this college plan since she don't need no man.
Players remorse. Yeah, I mean, it's a thing though, because I was talking about it and I see it in dudes too. It's like, hey man, your daughter's out there now. Like, listen, I
That's
have
why
a
the
daughter. I
moment a
have an
man has a
adult
daughter, he
daughter out
becomes a
there in the
feminist.
world.
The
You know,
moment a man has a
listen.
daughter, he's a feminist because he don't
And
want to
I
imagine.
fight that shit.
He don't want to know that every single time that a guy comes to your door from 13 to 18, he's taking your daughter and spreading her asshole and spitting in her
Well,
face.
and
And all.
here's the
But
thing, though.
that's the facts. These are the
No,
facts,
but
and these
here's
are
the
what
thing.
men
I'm
don't.
serious. No, because I don't think you have children, right? And so it's like, some daughters are definitely out there like that, right? But then you have daughters that are like new in the world.
It
and you
doesn't
kinda
matter if
wanna-
anybody
Hold
takes
on,
dick
hold
in
on,
any
hold on.
way.
Let me make the point, then respond. What I'm pointing out is that even as a father, and I talked about this, but men hate watching their daughters become modern women, because no matter what you try to instill your daughter with, you do understand that you're going to send her out there in a world of men too, and then the men are we are what we are, and so it's like it's really hard to kind of give your daughter advice
Wait,
to navigate the modern world.
But dude, this is the whole thing is.
Time out. Let me ask you something, Hood. Who says you have to send your daughter out there?
No, but I'm just saying, it's the process of becoming an adult. Like, she leaves the home at some point, and she leaves your
Bro,
wing.
you gotta sell her young, bro. You gotta sell her at 16.
Right, you have to. That's the only other way.
That's why
I see
they
where you- I
had
see now where
arranged
you're going,
marriages for
Freeman.
most
I
of
see what you
history.
mean now, Freeman. But
That's why you had arranged
that's
marriages
that's
most
the
of
only
history.
other thing. You got to get them out the world, maybe.
But
Hey, Hood, since we're talking about daughters, I dropped a link in the back, man. You ought to check it out.
But the sad thing about that.
Time out. Look, so the thing is, how do you control your environment? Right? How do you do that? There's people that are in the world have this idea that there is no way to control your environment and control for variables, or at least put them in your favor at a minimum, right? There's this continued acquiescence to, well, you got to send her out there sometime. Do you really?
No, we
Like
can
what
plantation
did you do? Hold on. What did you do when she was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? If you only knew nuclear families and that's the only thing your daughter knows, then what? Right? You're
You know, I
going to
remember I
results
was
from
I don't even know if
exposing your daughter
that's
to,
necessarily true,
your
bro.
neighbor with 2 moms. Right? You're
Oh,
gonna
and what
get
is that
more
though?
results.
No,
What is
I
it?
was on a panel and somebody asked me. We were really talking about women's sports in college because of the whole transgender thing. And then somebody asked me, and I said, ultimately, bro, I would rather my daughter just be married off and married well. I don't care for her going through all of that stuff. If she's married, how much of that do you really need anyway? And the whole panel kind of like clutched their pearls, like, I can't believe that's what you. But like, yeah, because I mean, the
Yeah, I
alternatives aren't
remember
really
that.
great.
I remember that. Or I'm sure you've done it on multiple panels, but I remember you doing that on a panel
Can
in
I
the
say something real
audible
quick?
gab from the B-dubs.
What it is actually is it's imposing a male's jealousy. Okay. Again, it's a man living through a male gaze of the world through his daughter. Just like you don't want to imagine, because you know what you do and what sex is like for a man compared to a woman. It's literal conquest and domination. So you don't want what you created to be conquested and dominated. It's the same thing with all
Well,
of that.
no. It's that you don't want it to happen over and over and
No,
over
at
and
all.
over. Because
No,
like
it's
some
deep
guy, no,
down
you
at
have
all.
to. Some guy has to have her. Like that's just the
But
reality,
that's
right?
why you had to
She
pay
has to
me for
marry
my
a
property.
guy.
No, but
She
that's
has
why
to.
you had to pay me before
But
with a
hold
dowry.
on. But that's why I
You had to
said
buy her.
over and over and over, right? Because now it's just a bunch of dudes. But if it's just you're married off to a guy, that's just the way of the
But
world. We
that's what
can
I'm
live
saying.
with
She had
that.
to be bought as my property. You had to have enough money to buy her. I set the price, and if she never got sold, tons of women for most of history just lived at their family home forever.
Yeah, that's not going. Yeah,
Respectable.
Here's the. I mean, somebody got to take care of grandma. But here's my thing, bro. Number one, I don't really necessarily believe that women have the capacity or the ability to love. And even though people say that women love their children, I know a lot of women that sell their son out for his baby mama or for the girl next door. I swear to God, I do. And I love my son. While the police is taking him away. The mitigating fact is, as much as I love to be around women in the interim of them taking their clothes off, whatever level of sobriety or comedic gestures I've been doing, the problem is patriarch. Y'all bad patriarchs. Every time I hear people, even the nuclear family thing, me being a child from a 2-parent household and all of my parents' friends most of them were married, and I remember playing it, smashing this girl, at 11 years old, and she invited it. Girls are perverts; they always invited until boys hit puberty, then boys hunt. But before puberty, all that, let me see yours, I'll let you see mine. That's girls initiate that. 2-parent household.
No, you're right.
Toddle.
Women only do what men allow. It's simple.
Right. Toddler's going toddle. So the whole thing is, to create a winning environment, you have to create 7 more dudes with that will enforce the rules. And that's what HOAs do. That's what religion is supposed to do, but men don't really have that fellowship.
Let me run this last clip that you shared with me real quick, and then we're gonna wrap this up in a minute.
I got one more.
Yeah, because I'm curious to how all you fathers out there would react in this situation.
Real quick, one more point.
Oh, hold on. You one more.
One more point to what Dirty Folks said about you have to create 7 more dudes like you, right? That is why throw that back to Imperius's point about not talking to his grandparents, not talking, right? Fraternity was a normal part of society, right? The Elk Lodge, the gun club, the bowling league. That is how men networked, and you knew other men that were worth a damn, right? You have to embrace fraternity societally.
And in a weird way, this manosphere is attempting to kind of recreate that, baby steps, but it's tentative. But go Freeman, I cut you off.
I'm just saying, you got to go out and find your own tribe of men wherever you're at. Doesn't matter what it is: sailing, guns, Bible study, right? Get your tribe, and that's how you create a tribe. That's how you network. That's how you get. That's how you expose your kids, not just your daughter, your kids to other
cool people who share your values.
I agree
Right?
with
We
that.
have lost that a lot, and who we lose it to, right? The other cultures, right? The Allahu Akbars who are actually doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, because girls, that's one of the things, which is to the manosphere part, right? The societally in the manosphere, the same thing. If there's a man's space and a girl comes up, she makes men better as long as she doesn't talk. If 10 guys are playing basketball at the park and a girl shows up, those guys are gonna play hard. If you know, karaoke bar, whatever it is, the joke's gonna get funnier at the you know, the backyard barbecue. But once a woman talks, anything you're talking about creating that Elk Lodge vibe is destroyed. There's a reason that the Eastern Stars can't be with the Masons. When you talk about the manosphere and you letting these chicks with clothes on be on these panels trying to tell you what she want out of her, she don't know what the fuck she wants. She don't know who she is when she watch her face. You'll
Best
never
way
be
a-
able to. You'll never be
The
able to
best
have it.
way a woman to be is how my fraternity used to have their auctions. We used to auction, like the girls used to auction themselves off for like dates and stuff like that to raise money and shit like that. And like it wasn't like, you know, there was never expectation of anything. But they would literally like, you guys don't understand, like women have no problem being treated like objects, have no problem they live the whole shit test of being told, oh, I don't want to be treated like an object is a shit test for them saying so in so many words, please keep treating me like an object so I don't have to feel this chaotic and I'm just forced to stay stable.
Imperious, the thing about the auction, if I maybe understand it, just roughly thinking about what you said, there's a celebratory aspect to the auction, which, you know, chicks love a party.
But the auction is
Chicks also like chicks also
It's more that they're quiet and they look super. Hold on, it's more that they sit there, they look beautiful, and they get men to elevate competition between other men for that object. That's
Right.
what it is. It's literally saying, look at this bomb ass chick here. Now men are going to be like, I want 500, I want 1,000, 15. They're going to keep elevating because they're competing against the other men to breed that thing.
Here's the thing. Men are the men are the catch. I'm not trying to get all, you know, Greg Adams or whoever started that, but when you start talking about the auction, you have to talk about what's rare. The rarer thing is, the more expensive it is, right? How rare is 666, right? So motherfuckers should be paying for that, not asking to get paid from that. You understand what I'm saying? It's nothing rare about a fat chick. It's something very rare about Halle Berry in her prime. You know what I mean?
But that's what I mean.
I want to run this last clip before we get up out of here. Hold on.
Mom, Daddy, can my boyfriend stay the night? Please.
These parents were asked by their daughter if her boyfriend can stay the night. What happened next will leave you speechless. Is this good parenting?
Okay. What his mom say? Oh, they're totally fine.
And his dad?
Like, they love me.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
What y'all gonna do? Nothing. Just like watch some movies.
watch your movies.
Hey,
You know that's how you got here, right?
hard.
Be careful.
Mom, Chad isn't even like
I'll
that.
be up too. Be careful.
Just so you know.
Be careful. All right. And don't have too much fun. You can sleep in your room with the door open. And sweetie, respect my house.
Yes, sir. And respect yourself. Yes, ma'am.
Now
What
read
type of new age retarded bullshit?
No,
is this?
dude. Now
Yo,
read
what
the
fuck?
comments.
Hey, I'm gonna
Read
beat
the
the shit out of
comments.
both
Read
of these
the
people.
comments. Read
I
the
don't want to
comments.
read the comment. I am the comments. These people are retarded.
No, the
These
comments will
people are
blow your
stupid.
fucking mind, dude.
No,
There's no way you allow some shit like that.
I
And then have the
promise-
nerve to be like, you could sleep in his room. You could sleep in a room together with the door open. No, this whole
I
thing's
promise
stupid.
you,
This is
I-
dumb.
You ain't gonna believe how many people in the comments
Matter
agree
of
with this
fact,
shit.
the fact that
It's
you even
normal.
asked me some shit like that, I want to meet this boy and I want to terrify the fuck out of him.
No, I have look. Number one, the same girl that some of you are showing man at 10-11.
And you know this is fake, right?
But no, I know that's fake. But I'm
No,
saying,
yeah, absolutely, it's fake.
I'm
But the,
sitting in my.
but the scenario isn't a
It's
fake
not
scenario.
fake, bro. It's not fake scenario. It happened to me when I was 10 or 11.
Yeah, I did it.
But
Hey,
it
you know
happened
what?
in-
When I was like 15, you know what? That's how me and my baby mama got together.
no. And at 15, that's how my little cousin became a baby daddy.
Dude, that's how I ended up getting my first baby mama pregnant, dude. My mom let that bitch in the night.
Oh shit!
I
True
swear to God,
story.
bro. I went to my cousin crib. Like his mother's my first cousin. He my second cousin. I'm like in that gap in the middle that keep a nigga baby. So like I'm like 19, 20. Nah, I had to be older than that because it was 15. I'm like 22. He 15. I pull up at the crib like, what's up, little cuz? He on the couch with a blanket. Him and this girl on the blanket. I thought he was getting a hand job or something. Right? Because they had the blanket over them. They just sitting on the couch watching TV. They had pizza. I took their pizza because I'm big cuz. I stole their food. And I'm like, shit. And I said something to her. She was chubby though. So I'm like, yo, chubby. I'm like, yo, this your girl, the chubby chick? He was like, yeah. I was like, yo, y'all fucking? She was like, he looked at me in amazement, like, no, like it never occurred to him. He's like, no, cuz we just watching TV. I'm like, I look at her like, why you ain't fucking him? She was like, cuz he ain't never asked me. And I was like, cuz, ask her for some pussy. She was like, could I get some? She was like, yeah. And so that he tell me to this day, it's my fault that he got a baby mama, because that's the day she gave him son, because I talked his girl into giving him some
Hey, Dick Thug. I wasn't telling on my parents. I'm telling on her parents. All right, her parents ain't shit. Her parents allowed all type of shit. Her parents is lucky I was a good dude, and I actually loved that little funky ass bitch. But goddamn it, they was way too permissive. And this is the thing too. And we spoke on this earlier, right? Like as men, I would never allow the scenario that created my children. You see what I'm saying? Like I just know that's not the type of thing.
Not under my roof, because I'm not taking care of that shit. No way.
Ain't no way in hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it is. Like, chicks don't necessarily get as men. We just have a different rationale to it all. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. And let me kind of tie it down on this last note, right? And we spoke on this briefly earlier, and this is why all these weird things come up, right? Because like CGA and Andrew Wilson, I got really no love or hate really for either one of them. I'm kind of neutral on both of them. I like Andrew Wilson on his relative debate success recently, but he's just a guy. Everybody's just a dude, But here's the thing, right? He kind of got sandbagged by like the nature of his woman and her past history and all that. And then after the debate, CGA went deeper and started talking. Oh, it was crazy. Her history is crazy. And so the thing is,
yeah, she got
women,
shit, dude.
bro, women don't understand how men kind of like throw that shit. Like that shit is points against you as a dude, and women don't get that type of shit.
No, Hood, explain, man. What
all right,
Andrew
so
Wilson's
like,
wife? What's the
during the debate, it kind of was brought up lightly that your wife has a past or whatever. Now after the debate, and CGA went deeper into the past and started going like year by year, boyfriend by boyfriend, baby by fucking baby. Like she's multiple like loser. And he loves her anyway, and I hope it works out for him right now. But like, that shit look crazy.
Dude,
when
it's
you
not
kinda
just
sit here
that.
and
No,
sell,
hold on.
like
It gets
marital
worse,
bliss
dude.
and the ecclesiastical, like the whole shit's a debacle, bro.
Bro, can you hear me or no? It's
No,
worse. Than
yeah,
that,
you got
dude.
it. You got it.
Hold on, dude. Wilson's parents were trying to take custody of their first kid together from him because they were both neglecting their own kid. Dude, like if you look at their
That's
whole
on his
record,
side too, not even her.
that's on him, yeah. And then not just that, but remember her second husband filed like a CPO, a child protective order, because he believed that Andrew and her, when they were taking care of his kid, were neglecting him and stuff like that. Dude, these are not good people. You don't go online and make good money online. Like, dude, the people that I know that I would consider like good, those idealistic people are so in with their family and their tight groups. They don't have time for all. They're taking care of their kids to this. They're taking their kids to recitals. They're doing this. The kids involved in this sport, this and that. They're doing this.
Imperius, the reason why I even brought that up the way I did just now is to kind of point out the fact that ultimately there is a sort of order to things. There's a reason why things matter. And like, if you just want to be, low class poverty forever, none of that shit matters, because who cares about you? You care about nothing, right? But the higher you aspire to, like, the more these things actually do start to matter. And so it's like, these are the things that are in play once you start to climb the ladder. And you don't, and for us as like, poor black folk who don't necessarily go up to higher levels, this is kind of how it is. Like shit starts to matter that you never aspired, that you never thought about, rather. And so CGA and Andrew Wilson, they brought that shit up, and that was just a weird, sensitive, personal reminder of like, even these little things do start to matter later on in life. All that shit start to look crazy. And so I do totally kind of understand like the disciplined Christian type religious sort of thing where, like, you know, we talk about Steph Curry and his wife and all that, but like as far as like celebrities go, they kind of knocked it out the park. I hope they stay together, and she just says crazy shit every now and then on the panel, but like that's kind of unheard of where like you're both virgins, you lock in and stay in together. Because listen, outside of that, bro, shit gets crazy, bro. It gets complicated and ugly.
She hasn't cheated on him, right?
I don't think she has, and I don't think he has. I haven't heard any scandal on both parts, and that's why I'm trying to give them props. And
Yeah, no, I give them props if they've been loyal and they love each other. Congrats to them. I mean, I'm just saying that's a very big outlier. And
my whole point is that outside of that, it gets complicated and ugly, you know?
I have seen some basket cases make it work. Usually they're deep in the church. I mean,
the church.
Yeah,
helps.
that's pretty much it. You know, I mean,
well, you have to have a
like,
structure around you to enforce
Yeah.
it, to keep pressure on you.
Nothing like a little religious fervor to keep the hoes in line, bro.
I mean, some out.
Well, my big thing
outlandish-
when I was a kid, my dad just said, "I'm not paying for shit. You're not going to have nothing your whole life if you have a kid now."
Hey, that was the father thing I was talking about. You know, the patriarchal big man who sets the tone.
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh,
But
my mother was crazy. My mother put a baby on me. I said, "Bitch, what is you doing?" That was crazy.
Guys, we're gonna wrap this up in a second. Though, Freeman Journal, you were about to say something.
Well, let me say this before I go. You know, speaking of women, though, you know, I'll say this: Sugar Bum, though, she's the good kind of crazy. If you've seen her in bed, it's ridiculous.
Oh God, did you make a chat room baby with her? What the hell, man?
No.
Sugar Bum got a dropped.
No, Imperious and Sugar Bum were flirting heavy last time we were on the pen. Well, I was live and they were. in the
Dude,
chat
she protects
getting
me from
naked.
that evil woman, Sharon. And, you know, I give her a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, shout out to Sugar Bum. You know, we got a disaster in the church too. We know we give sanctimony and salvation.
Yeah,
to
you know,
all wayward women.
witches go around and curse things, you know. So, all right, well, you know, have a good day, everyone. Chat, I hate you all. You all suck. And have a good day, channel.
Shout out to Imperious. He held it together to the last minute too. That was great. That was dope on his part. Freeman's Journal, you were about to say something, and then we had that little crash out. What's going on?
Oh, I don't remember.
Well, we're wrapping it up though. Anyway, any closing thoughts, man?
Yeah, freaking protect your family, right? And you are the architect thereof. None of this, oh, well, you know, you got to send them out in the world. You just sound like a loser. You know,
You just made me feel guilty. I'm about to drive up to my daughter's college and we're gonna have a dinner or lunch or something. I'm gonna talk about uncomfortable shit now.
Yeah, should. I mean, you're supposed to date your daughter, right? That you give her.
Dead
an
ass. I'll be
example of-
taking my daughter out to restaurants. We sit down and we talk and we eat together and shit. You know, we setting her up through the formalities of things.
Yeah, that's how I put my ideology in her. Like, oh no, I'm gonna pick your husband. Daddy will find you a husband. That's when you're gonna get your house. Right? She's like, I'm gonna get a house and da-da-da. Like, oh no. Yeah, you'll get one when you get a husband. A husband? Yeah, daddy's gonna find you a husband. Okay. I'm doing that. I do that all the time. All the time. And I
Hey,
make
listen,
sure
the
she's
force
only
of
around
father's
cool people.
personality matters, bro. I'm telling you, I feel that energy. The force of your personality as a father does matter. You just have to put that pressure. Lean on him a little bit, goddamn it.
Mm-hmm. I just keep around good people. Like my wife brought this some little girls to play with her the other day, and they were great kids. Like
Skim likely all girls are naturally liberal. That's why they need that father's pressure to, you know, keep them in bounds. It's just nature. All women are liberal, bro. They can't help it. It's you know,
it's chaos.
Emotions and shit. Yeah, it is what it is.
If you do not bridle the chaos, then you get what you get. But yeah, that's what you got to do. But anyway, she had some kids over. They were awesome little girls, man. You know, awesome. Their mom was awesome. I was just like, I had one of those serendipitous moments where I was like, hell yeah. Like this is what I'm trying to cultivate. This is what I want, right? It is very, important to me to have that. So, yeah, man, you gotta do the thing. And look, man, Hood, I keep telling you, you want your son to know how to pick a wife, you gotta show him. You gotta pick one, right? And it even affects your daughter who is out of your house. It affects her positively if she were to see a woman on your program, period.
I'm glad my son is young. He's a lot younger than my daughter. I got a lot more years, so I can still work with him and shit. We spend a lot more time together than I did with my. Well, I guess I do. I go because my son right now he's 12 now, so we go out, we do stuff, we do the time thing and all that, talk and just have random conversations. But I have more time with my son from right now. My daughter's already 18 and off away, so. I think more about what I got to do with my son, but I got a daughter coming up right behind him, and she's the tricky one. I swear to God, my youngest one's the tricky one. I got this little saying. I swear, I say to her every time we go out because she give me a hard time all the time. I tell her hard time all the time, every time, and I just know there's some guy he's gonna love her, but you're gonna be fucking miserable too. Hard time all the time, every time. I swear.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just that's just what you got to do. You got to put in that effort, and you got to say no to a lot of people, right? You got to say no to a lot of people being around you, period. So,
Dirty folks, what's going on, man? We got to close this show out, man. Any last thoughts on women ruining everything, bro?
I would like to say that coochie is delicious.
It is.
However, that's what clothes are. With clothes on, men are horrible patriarchs. Women are always titled. Men are horrible patriarchs. So when most of these discussions and arguments about what women should do to be good people, women are not good at being people. That's just not how they're built. They're not built with that type. Generally speaking, right? 80-20 rule, 80% not built with that type of compassion, that type of tolerance, that type of understanding. The instant gratification doesn't allow them to see that you're going to school for engineering, but you're not an engineer yet. So she will sleep with the dude in the football team because he got a better swag. They can't foresee the future. You have to be a better patriarch, even if it comes down. We crack jokes about arranged. I don't be cracking jokes when I say arranged marriages, but you have to be a better patriarch. The minute you say that you're equal to a woman is the day that you said that you've never evolved past 5th grade. You're one of them dudes that talk about high school. You four touchdowns poke high nigga, because you can't be. Men are just intrinsically better than women at everything except causing chaos. You know what I mean? But so if you wanna have women only ruin it because men allowed. Like, how can women ruin it? Like if there's 5 naked women in a room just by themselves, they playing with each other, doing each other hair, ready to go hunt men. Like, girl, let me use your bra, wear your dress. Women intrinsically in a group only hate men or hunt men, and they do both at the same time. A lot of times, men, including women, and then accepting women as peer group, as like, just because we're the same age, you must know what I know. That's what ruins everything. Men are horrible patriarchs, bro. Horrible. I stand on that. That's what I say, dude. Whatever. Can't sure we know what's going on. You be in them rooms switching bras. I be seeing y'all. Yeah, putting on war paint together. Yeah.
Dirty folks, we're gonna shut this one down. Thank you so much for coming through. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the lovely Miss Cantrell for that last question about men and love. That was a great ending to the conversation. It's weird how we started the show. I mean, it's not weird actually. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. We walked our way to there, but we started the show talking about women ruin everything, and Somewhat, on the surface, that's true. But women ruin everything because men love them so much that we just let you fuck it up. We're doomed together. Isn't that crazy? Men and women, we are doomed together. It's a true romance. We're going to burn together. Oh, God. C'est la vie. That's life, isn't it? Men and women, we are doomed together. What is this? Vanta in the chat. Shout out to Vance. I don't know if you ever been up on my panel before. One of these days, we're going to get you a passport and let you come up over here. You can come to church in America one day. Vanta says, Proverbs 31:3, never give your strength to women, for they are the destroyer of kings. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Yeah. You destroy the king, kingdom goes down too. But I want to thank everybody for coming up. Shout out to everybody in the audience. I've been asleep. I've been tired. I'm gonna go get me some sleep. I've been up all night basically. I'm gonna take me I was gonna go to sleep before we did this show, but I figured honestly I couldn't sleep early. I was up and wired and shit. So now I guess I'm gonna go to sleep early. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm probably going to have to go to work tomorrow night. So we'll be back tomorrow early with another show. I don't even know what we're going to do. We're going to freestyle it. I'm going to come up with something. But hit that like button. We're going to close this one out, man. Thank y'all so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. We are done with this. Women, you guys are amazing. We love y'all. But we got to figure this out before the house catches fire. Women are amazing, and I refuse to let them ruin everything. That's just the way it is. Women are amazing, and God damn it, we can't let them ruin everything. We have to figure this shit out. There has to be a way to let women be amazing and not let them ruin everything. I'm done.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.